X-Play! We look for someone to play with in PlanetSide Core Combat. And Dragon Ball Z Budokai urges you to move along. There's nothing Freudian to see here.
Look at that! I got your tail!
Nothing at all!
Piccolo, do it!
It's game time! Please welcome two people making a fortune by placing small, personalized ads in localized newspapers. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Hello and welcome to X-Play. Now today we have a dark and brooding comic book hero.
And an ill-advised expansion pack for a great shooter.
And Dragon Ball Z for the GameCube.
No!
Oh yes, the fanboys are going to be hating on us again. Plus a game based on a ride at Disney World.
Ooh, it's a small world first-person shooter. Finally, yay! Take that, cute kids.
No. Plus we find out what happens when the person running your Half-Life server is a total a-hole.
But we kick things off with a comic book hero, Spawn, who, despite his name, has nothing to do with reproduction.
Now I think the demon in spandex on the box is a dead giveaway. Here's a review of Spawn Armageddon.
There's plenty of necro antics afoot in a narcoleptic city bereft of population as the latest attempt to sully Todd McFarlane's angry action man Spawn drops on a platform near you. We find Spawn, pissed as ever, musing over love and loss well known to the veterans of the comic. Of course something ain't right and Spawn's gotta get busy bustin', hacking, tearing, and breaking. Characters show up now and again to chat, but offer very little in the way of helpful shards of necro tidbit.
I have a feeling that you're about to get involved in something that may overwhelm you.
Spawn's gliding cape is visually appealing and his waist chains fly from his living costume impressively. Stand back, demonic sack of possessed kittens! Feel my necrotic wrath! Feel my fury! Yeah, kinda stupid, huh? This game suffers from an incredibly frustrating lack of grabbing, jumping, and targeting accuracy. When and where do you target your chains for the zipline to work consistently? Overall, the city presents itself as a fairly mundane collection of arena scenarios. This makes combat pretty repetitive as you play strike and avoid through every mission. The demonic hordes are dispatched easily and don't press you into any major chin rubbing to take them out. Hack 'em, slash 'em, or just break out a doom-belching superheater and waste 'em from afar, and it's off to a dandy new side of the necropolis to face a lot of the same damn thing. The voice work is from the critically acclaimed HBO series, and sound atmospherics and design are nicely produced.
I made a deal. I sealed my fate whole for the love of my wife.
The character of Spawn at times strikes some nice moves in the midst of combat. Die, evil spleen of Satan? Spawn often has to resort to dumpster diving and to furiously hacking trash cans in order to find much-needed power-ups. Far has our dark hero fallen to a state of necro-hobotude. There's an array of weaponry, but they all seem to deliver the same less-than-lethal salvo. Of course, there's the ever-trendy, way-overused bullet time mode where everything slows down and precious necro fuel is consumed. Decently rendered demons and some good sound engineering cannot make up for awkward cameras, easy-to-beat demons, and impossibly inconsistent grabbing, jumping, and targeting. We're taking a relatively necrophobic position on this one, folks. We give it a 2 out of 5.
It doesn't really surprise us that this game bloweth. The only good game with Spawn in it is Soul Calibur 2 for the Xbox.
Yes, every other Spawn game was awful. And Spawn the Eternal for the PlayStation being one of the worst games ever made. Ever.
Ever to infinity!
Speaking of infinity, have you noticed that when there's nothing to do, time just seems to go on forever?
Yeah, it's the theory of relativity.
Whatever I'm saying. Actually, the theory of relativity has to do with, light and slowing down. And
I thought it measured the speed of fun.
the point is that if you make an expansion pack for the best massively multiplayer online first-person shooter out there, you better be sure someone's still playing it first. Now, here's a review of PlanetSide Core Combat. PlanetSide is a fantastic shooter that takes hundreds of players and drops them into a virtual war zone. We love it. PlanetSide Core Combat is a cheap-ass expansion pack that feels more like a half-hearted grab at your wallet. We hate it, and here's why. PlanetSide's big. There are already a lot of areas to fight over. Much of the time, these areas are going unused, since no one wants to hang out on an empty continent. Core Combat adds 6 new cavernous areas to the game. Why would anyone bother to come down here and fight? They wouldn't, and no one does. Hello? Anybody home? Anybody? I'm so lonely. The caves themselves look pretty nice, although getting around is a pain. There are ledges and cliffs all over the place, and they're connected by these things called zip lines. You'd think a mind-bogglingly advanced race of ancient aliens would come up with a more efficient mode of transportation than something you'd see on American Gladiators. There is one reason to visit the caves. They are the only place where you can snag some alien weaponry, vehicles, and cool new upgrades for your bases. Overall, the alien stuff is okay. See, you can tell it's alien technology because they're all curvy and shiny. The alien tech appears to be better suited for strategic use. I like the flail, a long-range siege weapon that requires a second person to paint the targets with a laser before you can fire. If you can find any targets, or a second person. Anybody want to try to kill me? Hello? Target here. The main reason to visit the caves is to get technology upgrades for your bases. The upgrades range from shortening the respawn time when you die to creating a force field around the entrances to your base. If you don't buy the Core Combat expansion pack, you can't visit the caves, which is no big deal because almost no one goes down there anyway. Hello? You can't collect upgrades from the caves. That's lame, but at least you can still get their benefits once they are installed in a base. You can't use the new weapons or vehicles. This is a huge deal. PlanetSide is now a game where there are haves and have-nots. Either you pay the cash and get the weapons, or you're out of luck. Most of the content in Core Combat could quite easily have been made available to subscribers with a regular update. There's not enough here to justify the price, especially since players are already forking over $13 a month to play. We still love PlanetSide, but Core Combat isn't worth it. We don't say this often, but what the hell were they thinking? PlanetSide Core Combat nets itself a very angry 1 out of 5. Hello? Hello?
A 1.
1. Got a 1. But when PlanetSide first came out, you could have huge battles fighting against and alongside hundreds of other players. It was awesome and epic. It was like the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Now,
Great.
I found maybe, 4 players in the entire time I played Core Combat. Now, at one point, I actually got so bored, I conquered an entire cavern all on my own.
Wow.
No resistance.
Yeah.
It was a hollow victory. I just kept wondering if anyone was out there.
Is anybody out there? Just not if you could hear me.
Is anyone watching? Is there anyone at all?
Hello? Hello?
Up next, how we really feel about Dragon Ball Z. Genetically spliced for your amusement, it's Morgan Sessler and Adam Webb.
So I'm just quite not quite right about that.
Neither of those work well.
Welcome back to X-Play.
Now, recent study shows that some fanboys are scarier than others. Now, sure, we have alienated the Final Fantasy fans, and we've alienated the Pokemon fans, but why not dig ourselves in deeper by alienating the Dragon Ball Z fans?
Because they frighten us, and they write hate mail, and they criticize the way I pronounce Super Saiyan.
Five emails right there. Well, that's not going to stop us when we review Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Now, we did this originally for the PS2, that was back a couple of years ago, and now Budokai is dragging its Dragon Balls onto another platform.
Here's our review of Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the GameCube. I'm scared.
It's okay.
Look, I don't want to upset anyone out there, but I have to be honest. I don't really like Dragon Ball Z. In fact, sometimes I hate it.
How could you say that?
The story just doesn't really make any sense. It's basically for little kids, and overall, it just plain sucks. I love pissing him off.
Look at that! I got your tail!
Come on, what the hell is that?
Piccolo, do it!
And why is there so much screaming? Now, we have to review the game that wasn't very good for the PS2 and that's now not any better for the GameCube. Okay, maybe the graphics are a bit improved, but does it really matter? Other than that, Dragon Ball Z Budokai is the exact same game that we played and disliked on the PS2. There's nothing new here. For the die-hard fan, Budokai has plenty to offer. The story mode is set up to feel like you're playing through a few episodes of the Dragon Ball Z TV show.
Let's go to Namek!
The music, the voices, and the cutscenes all remain very faithful to the source material.
You big ape!
Sometimes, between agonizingly long cutscenes, they even let you pick up the controller and play very short battles. That's where the trouble starts, because this game isn't very deep. And most of all, it really isn't a very good fighting game. The variety of moves is severely limited. Lots of generic punches and kicks. Sure, there are a few special moves, but most of them are rehashed over and over between the different characters. You've seen one beam of light, you've seen them all. Unless you're devoted to Dragon Ball Z. He is playing the game, folks. Trust me. There are plenty of gameplay modes. Playing through the story modes and the tournament mode will unlock new things in the game. The most interesting of these are the skill capsules you earn and purchase while playing. These allow you to customize your character to better fit your playing style. This is a nice touch, but because the fighting feels the same no matter what skills you use, it's pretty much useless.
I'm too smart for the tricks!
Dragon Ball Z Budokai gets points for style. That alone will get legions of fans to buy this game. We think it would have been nice for the developers to have included a reasonably good fighting game, but since they didn't, we give Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the GameCube a 2 out of 5.
Forgive me, Dad.
All right, and let the deluge of angry mail begin.
Or instead of sending us angry mail, you could try to beat our new Flash game, X-Play's Ultimate Flip-Off.
You can find it at our website, techtv.com/xplay.
That way you can flip us off all day long. Flip.
Oh, that's
flip,
new.
Flip. Flip.
Lower your standards! It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb!
Well, lower them a bit. Not that low.
Welcome back to X-Play.
Okay, so if you play online, then you may have already heard the rumors about our guest.
Yes.
Dark tales of a bad seed who enjoys the suffering of others. An anonymous gamer who plays not to win, but to torture everyone else. His name is The Griefer. We've masked his identity for his own protection, and actually he's kind of nasty looking. Welcome to X-Play, Griefer.
Yeah, just get on with it.
Okay, well, when we last spoke, you were wreaking havoc in Battlefield 1942 games. Now, what game are you ruining for people now?
Well, actually, I've decided to give something back to the gaming community and the rest of you losers. I run my own online server now, and anyone can play on it. As long as they're not a dork, that is.
Oh, your own server. Interesting. Okay, so let's say, hypothetically, just for the sake of argument, that Adam here is a dork.
What? No.
And he's playing on your server. Now, what can you do about it?
Okay, Brainiac, let me spell it out for you. Running my own server means I control every single thing in the game. For example, this guy thinks he's cool because his character looks like some lame terrorist. But it's obvious that he's just a loser, so I'll make sure he looks like one. I just type a command into my window here, and now he looks like Bert. No. A Lego guy. No, wait. Cat food. Yeah. I hear they really like this brand.
What about his weapon?
Oh, that. I'll turn it into a can of Pringles. So now everyone can see what a loser this guy is. Then I tell him to get out.
Warning, go away.
And he should leave any second now. Yep, there he goes.
Why Pringles?
Why not Pringles? Anyway, I'm hungry.
All right, so how do you choose which gamer you're going to torture, Griefer?
Everyone deserves to suffer in my games. But I admit, there's some boneheads I despise more than most. Just look at this coward, throwing grenades around the corner without risking a thing. So I figured out how to slow down the grenades so they barely move at all. And
Idiot terminated.
oh, honestly, it hurts being this good.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going. You see this guy jumping all over? This moron thinks he can stay alive longer if he's harder to shoot. But to me, it looks like he's trying to fly or something. So I just turn off his gravity and he sends himself into orbit. Good times. Now he's all freaked out. Don't worry, Rocket Man. I'll help you get down.
Adios, amigo.
Now you're just another greasy stain on my screen. Serves you right.
Okay, Griefer, what can a gamer do to avoid your unholy wrath?
Good question. Let me think. Nothing. You're all helpless before me. If you can't stand the heat, then stay off my server. People like you sicken me.
Okay, I think we should wrap this up then.
He's a sweet little man, isn't he?
Thanks for taking the time to speak with us, Griefer.
It wasn't a total waste of time. By the way, Sessler.
What?
You are an idiot.
We'll be back.
Coming up, this just in, Disney ran out of things to franchise. No, wait, it's the Haunted Mansion game. Because we know someone out there must be watching, it's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Welcome back to X-Play. We have a game based on a ride at Disneyland.
And I know you're all squirming with anticipation. Is it a Country Bear Jamboree dating sim? A twirling teacup fighter? A Mr. Toad's Wild Ride RPG?
No. It's the Haunted Mansion. And blissfully, the game has almost nothing to do with the craptastic movie.
Still not looking forward to it. Here's our review.
It's no surprise that TDK released the video game The Haunted Mansion to coincide with Disney's movie The Haunted Mansion starring Eddie Murphy that came and left the theaters faster than you can say transvestite hooker. What? Now, $10 Disney says you're probably thinking that the game sucks just as bad as the movie. No offense, Mr. Murphy. But you can't always judge a book by its cover. I mean, you can't judge a game by its movie. I mean, never. You know what I mean. The first thing the game does is disassociate itself from the movie and resembles more the Disneyland ride attraction most of us know and love. Instead of a certain former SNL cast member, the main character is Zeke Holloway, an Ichabod Crane-looking fellow. To be honest, we could never bring ourselves to pay attention long enough to find out exactly why Zeke goes into the mansion. But suffice to say, he's trapped inside with a bunch of ghosts. The storyline is definitely one of the weaker elements of the game, but it can easily be skipped.
Of the mysterious and secret things unseen.
Okay, shut up already, Mae West. Basically, it's Zeke's job to free 999 spirits trapped in the mansion. He does so by entering a room, filling it with light, uncovering the spirits held within, and then sucking them up into his magic lantern. Sounds pretty simple, and familiar if you played Luigi's Mansion. What's great about the way these brain teasers are set up is that they aren't run-of-the-mill collect-the-keys type puzzles, but are actually integrated into the rooms themselves, with furnishings, objects, and other decor that can be manipulated. And that brings us to combat, which is the game's weakest element. Zeke fires light attacks from his lantern at creatures like spiders and scary little girls, using the R button while targeting with the L button. On the good side, the lighting and shadow effects are impressively realistic without being showy, and the design of the rooms is detailed and rich. Zeke's movements are a bit awkward, but hey, he's supposed to be a geek, right? Geeks move awkwardly. The subtle sound effects enhance the visuals with a variety of suitable creaks, whispers, and screams. Okay, Mom, I'll take out the garbage already. And although the game is rated for teens, it's hard to see what wouldn't be appropriate for all but the youngest children. Which is unfortunate because I was actually hoping for a little more action in the maid's bedroom, but all I saw were these roaming walls. Most gamers probably wouldn't give Haunted Mansion a second thought if they passed by it on a game store shelf, and we don't blame them. But for those longing for an antidote to mindless action, they will be pleased with this modest, intelligent title. X-Play gives it a 3 out of 5. Alright, well, that is Disney's Haunted Mansion. That may not be the most enthralling game that we showed you on the show, but if you need to refresh yourself, you can find all the reviews at our website, which is
techtv.com/xplay.
And we have our brand new exciting X-Play original game.
Yes.
It's a game made by us for you, people who watch the show. It involves flipping us off or around or
over or something, and it has me in a purple ooh la la wig.
And it has me probably looking like I'm in pain and uncomfortable and sad.
Yes, and it also has a dick. That's usually your line. Good night.
Today on X-Play, the Founding Fathers skate in Tony Hawk Underground 2. Bad dialogue in Devil May Cry 3.
This party's getting crazy.
And could Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal be the best platformer of the year? Find out! It's game time! Please welcome two people drowning in bitterness. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Oh, drowning is a little strong. I prefer a wash.
Well, I'm really drowning in bitters, but that's a different story. Hello and welcome to X-Play.
On today's show, we review Tony Hawk's Underground 2.
We take a look at Devil May Cry 3, the latest installment in Capcom's violent demon-slaying epic.
Plus soccer from EA Sports. And because people love bad ideas, a Dukes of Hazzard game.
Wow. And last but not least, we answer the question, is Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal the lead contender for Best Game of the Year? Ooh. Find out later in the show.
But we kick things off with the sequel to 2003's excellent Tony Hawk's Underground. Here's our review of the predictably titled Tony Hawk's Underground 2.
Get out.
Yeah, I know. The focus of Tony Hawk's Underground has gone from earning respect as a skater to earning a beating as a jackass. The groundbreaking genius behind MTV's Viva La Bam has hijacked the Tony Hawk franchise and are advancing the future of gaming with the time-honored tradition of man gets hit in the groin jokes.
That sucks.
Tony Hawk's Underground 2 starts much like the first Thug. You're a young skater out to prove himself. And that's about where it ends. Bring it on, bitch! Tony and Bam have started the World Destruction Tour. It's your assignment to skate various cities, wreaking havoc on property, animals, and the city locals.
Stop it! You're retarded.
No, you are. Oh! Nice catch, Dominic.
However, it's not all mayhem as you take a break from pelting people with apples to wheel a sick boy to see Tony Hawk.
Now I feel much better.
The game's irreverent humor is the key to its play.
Now the girls will love me.
You score points by doing various tasks of destruction, whether it's tagging walls, decapitating statues, or using a giant stone koala bear to unleash mass chaos. That's sad for the koala. As the points add up, you'll find stranger and more bizarre secrets in the game, like a bull riding Steve-O.
Love is a burning thing.
With references that range all over the place, from Ben Franklin.
I'll invent a move called the Franklin.
He's a sweet soul, brother.
To the Star Wars kid.
Okay, I'll dance for you.
That poor kid will never find peace.
Fine, what's the matter? You didn't like it?
For all of you who don't care for groin humor and public disobedience, Thug 2 offers Classic Mode. This will allow you to play without all the absurdity. This game is, without a doubt, the best in the Hawk franchise, and it's one of the most fun games this year. For once, the storyline will provide real humor, and finding the game's hidden secrets will provide you with hours of entertainment.
Don't be so loud, you wake the fat boy up.
It might seem difficult for anyone new to the Tony Hawk world, but it's worth the time spent. With so much to do, everyone can find something to love about this game. We give Tony Hawk's Underground 2 a 4 out of 5.
Oh, it's good to know that the Founding Fathers are still portrayed with reverence in the popular culture.
At least Thomas Jefferson isn't giving anyone a lap dance, for once.
Well, there's always that. Now, of course, Tony Hawk isn't the only major franchise pumping out a new installment.
Yes, Capcom's dark hack-and-slash series, Devil May Cry, has yet another installment in store for Dante fans.
Oh, sure, Devil May Cry 2 was a huge letdown and boring to boot, but Capcom is hoping to inject new life into the third installment by tossing in a new combat system and a whole lot of bullet time.
Here's our preview of Devil May Cry 3.
Everyone's favorite metrosexual demon slayer is back in Capcom's Devil May Cry 3.
Doesn't it excite you?
Not really, because the last one totally sucked.
Where did you hear that?
I don't know, it's pretty much common knowledge. Of course, this time around, Pretty Boy Dante is hoping the third game will redeem the franchise.
Don't bet on it.
This time, the game looks as stylish and gory as ever. And the series is returning to its apocalyptic roots with a faster, more fluid outing. Even if the dialogue hasn't improved.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
I have not the words. The biggest shocker of Devil May Cry 3 is that it's actually a prequel. The story takes place even before the events depicted in the original game. That means you'll be hacking and slashing your way through plenty of demons and looking for evil in a gay disco. Anyway, there are a few innovations this time around. You can play using several fighting styles. Choose Trickster, and you can make evasive maneuvers during combat. Pick the Swordmaster option instead, and Shredder moves are introduced. And the Gunslinger option introduces snazzy trick shots. Oh, for the love of all that is holy, make the guitar rock stop.
This party's getting crazy.
Could you shut up? Anyway, once again, the object of the game is to decimate foes to achieve the rating of dope or blast. Wait, blast?
I'm not even sure myself.
Either way, we'll be sure to bring you our full review when the game comes out next year.
I can already tell. Looks like this is gonna be one hell of a party!
Huh. At E3 this year, we saw tons of great upcoming titles from Capcom.
Beautiful Joe 2, Resident Evil 4, and Shadows of Rome.
But Devil May Cry 3 may be one of their most anticipated because the kids love Dante. Apparently, androgynous albino men light the fanboys' fires.
Yeah, they do. Of course, if you need your Dante fix right now, let me know who you are. You can actually play as a teeny tiny cel-shaded Dante in the PS2 version of the original Beautiful Joe.
Yes, he looks all itty bitty and cute and really not menacing and brooding at all. Look at him. Who's an adorable little demon slayer? You are.
No, I don't slay.
Coming up, because someone out there must care, FIFA Soccer 2005. Due to budget cuts, we can only show you Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Actually, one of us is probably going to leave before the show's over.
Welcome back to X-Play, the show that brings you brutally honest game reviews.
And we have to be brutally honest right now, we're not a huge fan of the soccer games.
Chalk it up to the fact that in the US, soccer is slightly less popular than shuffleboard.
I love shuffleboard.
And you can see why we have a bit of a hard time getting excited about it.
We're talking about men's soccer, of course, because women's soccer in the US is actually compelling. And sometimes when they score goals, they strip to their sports bras. I'm just saying that they might go together.
So how do we tap into the enthusiasm the rest of the world feels for football?
By tapping into the new online component of FIFA Soccer 2005.
Cancel any plans you might have. This game is going to consume you, and that's a promise.
Most Americans think they're above soccer, that it's just a silly sport for the rest of the silly world. But we also re-elected W to a second term, so maybe we're wrong about the whole soccer thing too.
Oh, real chance. Oh no, it's gone the wrong side of the post.
FIFA Soccer 2005 was made for fanatics. Techno-loving football fanatics who know all the players on every Premiership team. You know, like most of the planet. American MLS is in there somewhere, but primarily you'll be playing foreigners of every nationality and flavor, from brie to bratwurst to kimchi. Even the soundtrack is filled with enough imports to stock a college record store. You could have a cultural experience with British rap music.
Yeah, like I said, you are really fit, but my gosh, don't you just know it?
Watching these tiny men running around on a huge soccer pitch is kind of like watching hamsters running around in the yard. But they're really talented hamsters. And a spot-on chance and cheers and a lot of gravitas to the scurrying little sockers. In the race for a perfect soccer game, it's a two-horse sprint between EA's fast-paced FIFA and Konami's masterpiece Winning 11. EA Sports games often stumble trying to cater to both hardcore gamers and newcomers, and this year's offering is no exception. The game thrives on repetitive running gunplays, like hockey, but with better teeth. It's tiresome for aficionados of the subtle nuances of fine footy, but easier on the ADD-addled minds of newbies.
Oh, over the bar.
What FIFA does have are licenses for every major football franchise, which must have cost them a lot of euros.
They've sold plenty of tickets, the ground is nearly full.
There's probably a few you've heard of. David Beckham's here, Ronaldo, even Americans like DC United's Freddie Adu, the supposedly 15-year-old football type terrible. It's fun making him foul older players till a mean old ref sends him to his room with a red card. It also has the enjoyably unintelligible Scottish announcer, Ali McCoist.
John, fantastic to be here. It really is. Not only for the rest of their careers will these players remember, but for the rest of their lives. I'm afraid it's hard to say anything good about that shot. The script was written for this game as soon as that early goal went in.
FIFA is the Beckham of soccer games. Plenty of style and some finesse. But mostly, it's all marketing. Play for a bit and you'll think it outglitz the competition. Play longer and the eye candy wears off and you'll realize it's still not in the same league. We give it a 3 out of 5.
It's hard to palm a soccer ball. Now that FIFA 2005 has online play, you can pretty much play anyone in the world.
Which means you can play people who actually care, even if you don't. Hey.
Coming up, Southern Comfort with the Dukes of Hazzard, return of the General League. Show some love to cuddly co-host Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
See, it's like the General League without the racist imagery.
Welcome back to X-Play, the show that brings you the best in Southern gaming.
Yes, in the proud tradition of games like Starsky and Hutch, aptly named developers Ratbag have produced the Dukes of Hazzard game.
Oh goody, uncomfortable Confederate imagery and questionable short shorts all in one game.
And all because the public was absolutely clamoring for another Dukes of Hazzard game. Actually, they weren't.
Well, either way, here's our review of Dukes of Hazzard Return of the General League.
Just a good old boy.
I always loved Friday nights as a kid. Sometimes I'd make shrinky dinks. Sometimes I'd beat my brother. Sometimes I played Connect 4. But I always watched the Dukes of Hazzard on CBS. Now, Ubisoft drags out this venerable license with the Dukes of Hazzard, Return of the General League. I felt as happy as a little girl until I started playing it. The game's missions are laid out to feel like an episode of the TV show, and that part works fairly well. Everyone's here. The Dukes, Boss Hogg, Sheriff Roscoe, and the rest, along with General Hijinks. Amusing ineptitude, and overall ruckus raisin.
If the General Lee is good for one thing, it's frustrating the law.
And me. Whether you drive from behind the car or glued onto the front bumper, realize that your tires are bald and gravity is 1/4 of Earth normal. This is an attempt to create the freewheeling, power-sliding action of the TV show, but the result is an irritating lack of control. If the screwy physics flip your car over, just wait. The good Lord will provide.
Jump down to the highway?
Hallelujah! Navigating is a chore too. If you roam freely, you'll just get lost. If you use the overlay map, you'll crash. It's like Boss Hogg stole all the fun from Hazzard County and locked it away. Ooh, it must be in here. Fun, you will be mine! Let me in, Fun!
I don't know whose rear end is suffering more, his cars or mine.
Hard to tell. It is the South, after all. Several members of the original cast do the voices for their characters.
See, I know what you're up to, Jesse Duke. Don't you move a muscle.
But we did say, see y'all later to some. Uncle Jesse, dead. Boss Hogg, dead. Daisy Duke, alive, but shrewish.
Oh, look, you stop fooling around. You're gonna miss the race, fellas.
Funny, she doesn't look shrewish. Until someone gets this franchise right, I'll stick with my old VHS tapes and real cars with actual traction. A 2 out of 5.
Well, thank God this game came out, because it opens the door for all those other great TV show games we've been dying to play.
Like a BJ and the Bear dating sim.
Or a Little House on the Prairie first-person shooter.
Or a Love Boat hack and slash.
And let's not forget the Mama's Family real-time strategy game. See, you get to manage your resources so you can make sure they never rerun it again.
Up next, could this be the game of the year? It's Ratchet and Clank, Up Your Arsenal! Blocking the sun's harmful rays, it's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
See, we have a purpose. Welcome back to X-Play, the show that brings you the best platformer of the year.
It might even be the best game of the year. Doo-doo.
So far, this year has given us some great driving games.
Like Burnout 3.
Great shooters.
Halo 2.
Great strategy game.
Rome Total War.
And a great game to beat unsuspecting people up in.
Barbie Horse Adventure. I mean San Andreas.
Good.
Yeah.
But this is the first platformer to join the lofty ranks of those covenant-shooting, car-crashing, hooker-punching titles.
Here's our review of Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal.
We continue our live coverage from Velden. Just hours ago, the planet was attacked without warning by a terrifying alien race known as the Tyrannoids.
Okay, you've heard this plot before, but it's okay. Ratchet and Clank are on the case.
Hey, look! It's a new sergeant!
Huh?
Hey, Sarge, you can have my gun. There's too many of them! We're all gonna die!
And you know what? It just gets better and better. Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal is the best Ratchet ever. And that's really good, because the first 2 Ratchets weren't too shabby. This time, the controls are preposterously tight, and it's the perfect mix of action and strategy. And yes, it ratchets up the difficulty. You still play as Ratchet, and sometimes Clank, and sometimes this guy. More on that later. But first, there are tons of weapons that make things go boom! And they add a lot of strategy to the combat. Now, I like to use the Infector to make enemies attack each other. Then, in the Pandemonium, I take the rest out with my Plasma Whip or even my Wrench. See, I tend to be a little stingy with my ammo, you know, in case of a rainy day, but that's just me. See, now I'm glad I saved those 8 nitro bombs.
He sure got his spells on that time.
There is so much variety. There are arena games to earn you cash and prizes, there's platforming fun, there's driving. There's even these side-scrolling sojourns with Captain Quark. It's a video game within a video game. How postmodern. Or POMO if you go to Hampshire. Ooh, rats. And I just love being in disguise and talking to the Tyrannoids. If you get the pattern right, you gain access. If you get it wrong, I admit a noxious effluvium in your general direction. It's a great new take on an old classic.
I seen him run right through our camping site. He was buck naked, screaming and holding a banana. Or maybe it weren't a banana.
The story is quirky and flows well with the action. There's the hot chick.
Anyway.
The president.
We must stop Dr. Nefarious.
The bumbling hero. And the genre satire.
Oh, please tell me this is a typo.
That's robotic pirate ghosts. Guess reading wasn't your subject, eh, Professor?
What's depressing is that I've played games with robot ghost pirates.
Booty is in the eye of the beholder.
And you want to know the icing on the cake? Multiplayer. So when you're done playing the single player for the 50th time, you can kill your friends and beloved neighbors. I know, cool, right? Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal gets an absolutely emphatic 5 out of 5 and is easily a candidate for Game of the Year.
That was terrific.
Yeah, great. Change the channel.
But the man said to stay tuned.
There are so many reasons to love this game, the multiplayer being one of them.
And the rest of the game being the other reason. Now, one little tip. If you have not played the Ratchet game since the first one, I highly recommend you play Going Commando first. This game is more difficult, and it kind of assumes that you really know how to play it. If not, then you can play the third one, but the second one's great too. So, you know what?
Yeah, might
just
as well
play them
play
all.
it. There's like a tutorial in the beginning, so people aren't going to be left totally high and dry if they just pick up Ratchet and Clank.
Now, I'm getting like a schoolgirl, but now we're going to turn to something more serious. Viewer mail.
Today's viewer mail is from David M. at Benicia High School. He writes, I have some questions for you guys. Question number 1. I heard rumors that a new first-person slasher like Mach X is in the works somewhere. Is that true? Question number 2. Has Shigeru Miyamoto ever made a bad game? Oh, so wonderful questions, David. Question number 1. Now, we haven't heard about any first-person slashers in development at the moment, but there's Breakdown. It had first-person fighting elements.
And if you're looking for a game where you can open up a can of whoop-ass with the sword, there's Halo 2. Now, for you, those of you out there who don't know what Mach X was, it was a Dreamcast game that was a first-person slasher. You had a sword. And you know what? They almost made it into a third-person game in Japan, but I don't think it ever came out.
Oh.
All right, moving on to the next question about Shigeru Miyamoto. This is the guy behind Zelda and Mario. Has he ever made a bad game? He's kind of like the Spielberg of games, but even better than Spielberg. I think the second Zelda.
You think the second Zelda?
It's not a terrible game, but
it's not terrible.
But it's still, compared to the other ones, I've never really cared for it. And some people don't like the second Mario game, but that's highly debatable as well. I mean, they're just bad in his oeuvre.
Exactly, they're not terrible.
Oeuvre, it sounds like ovary.
Good night. What are you talking about?
What? Who? Stop that.
Today on X-Play, creepy, man, creepy. It's our review of Killer 7, plus illegal booster payments in NCAA Football 2006, and Dynasty Warriors respawns on the PSP. Dude, that's freaking me out. It's game time. Together they form Voltron. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Sadly, there are only 2 of us, so we just form an arm and a torso. It's a very sad Voltron.
It is sad. Greetings and welcome to X-Play, the show made for nerds, by nerds, and with nerds.
Today, we bring you a review of the decidedly unnerdy sports game, NCAA Football 2006.
Plus, holy repetition, Batman, it's another damn Dynasty Warriors game. Only this time it's for the PSP.
Hold on. Yay! And if you like your RPGs difficult, pretentious, and chock full of childlike graphics, oh, we got a game for you.
Plus, will you be as confused as we are by the trailer for the new Full Spectrum Warrior game?
And last but not least, we review Killer 7, the weird game that has been polarizing the video game industry.
Is it edgy, violent, and deeply engaging with a bold graphics engine?
Or is the gameplay restrictive and frustrating while the visuals seem stuck in the PS1 era? Well, we'll tell you what we think.
But we begin with one of the best damn football games on the market, period.
Here's a review of NCAA Football 2006.
Outlined against a blue-gray October sky, NCAA Football 06 rides again. College football, the wholesomeness, the rampant wilding, the cheating, the payoffs, the disloyalty is the last pure sport for sports purists.
Touchdown!
Thank heavens, NCAA Football 06 has arrived just in time to show us true athletic achievement.
At the point, and he's brought down.
It's a series that has been around for a few years, and it's relatively unchanged. Dynasty mode is pretty much as you remember. All the teams you'd want are here. You can play as Army or Navy in one of their very historic, very irrelevant yearly matches. I hear Karl Rove leaked the playbook online.
X-Play and politics don't mix. Stick to reviewing games and Tom Cruise jokes.
Let's focus on the big teams, like Florida State University, one of college football's shining institutions. Illegal boosters, call girls, free shoes, glaucoma medicine, and wads of unmarked bills not included. You have to play for the real Florida State for those perks. Allegedly.
Goodbye!
But what really has our heads in a tizzy is the race for the Heisman. Heisman mode is so addicting, Courtney Love bought 5 copies of the game from a guy in West Covina, California. Allegedly. Traveling through Heisman mode allows you to fulfill your football fantasies and go, go, go for the Heisman during a 4-year college football playing career. 4-year college football career? Now that's fantasy. And between games, chill out in your dorm room and check out photos of all your girlfriends that may or may not have been alumni gifts. If you get my meaning. Listening to The Clash while hanging out in your dorm room gives the late great Joe Strummer one more reason to spin and spin and spin in his punky grave. But this is football. College football. If we cared what an old punk had to say, we'd watch Joey.
How you doing? My show sucks. Allegedly.
But let's talk for a moment about the fine announcing team for NCAA Football 06.
I'm Brad Nessler, joined in the booth by Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit.
Lee Corso knows his college football, maybe more than anybody. But his deep, dark secret, one he's only shared with his intimate friends, has finally come out in the open. Could Lee Corso possibly be a furry? Allegedly. Of course, with this knowledge that we totally made up, it makes the mascot football action that much more, I guess disturbing might be the right word. The players look better this time out. The stadiums and fans rock with collegiate passion and homemade signs and cheerleaders. Always cheerleaders. Hardcore college footballers will enjoy this bad boy. NCAA Football 06 gets 4 illegal booster payments out of 5.
Tennessee is on cloud 9 right now, and they should be. Everything.
In an otherwise dismal year for EA, this near flawless game reminds us why they've had a stranglehold on the sports market for so long.
And now that EA are the only developers with NFL and NCAA licenses, let's hope they keep up the quality, since we won't have any other options unless they decide to make Tecmo Bowl 2006.
In which case, there will just be a bunch of DOA girls and ninjas playing football.
I would totally play that game.
I wonder if ninjas know the wishbone formation.
And now we transition from football to Warlords. Yes, it's another Dynasty Warriors game.
I know, it seems like we review another one of these every couple of episodes. And that's because a new Dynasty Warriors game comes out every couple of episodes.
And even with an oversaturated market, they still sell faster than a 1 gig memory stick covered in crack. Here's a review of the highly portable Dynasty Warriors for the PSP.
From the creators of Dynasty Warriors Criminal Intent, Dynasty Warriors Special Victims Unit, and Dynasty Warriors 2 Electric Boogaloo comes another member of the DW family. Yes, it's time for the PSP to get their version of the popular hack and slash. Same Dynasty Warriors taste, now in an easy-to-swallow tablet, to allow me to put my long drawn-out sigh into word form. The story, same old, ancient China, war, killing, what more do you need? The flow of battle is a little bit different in this shrinky-dink version. Whereas before you had a huge battlefield in which you had to search for your battles, this time they broke it up into little bite-sized pieces. So not only is the game smaller, but the battle length is smaller too. This is a good thing because you can fight a mini-battle, shut down, go about your business, then reboot right where you left off. Great for the murderous general on the go. Rip Taylor Confetti Power, activate! When you get started, you get to choose generals and decide who you want to be representing your posse. And you get 42 different flavors to choose from, ranging from Betty.
Hi, how are you?
Veronica.
I'm the belle of the ball.
Archie.
We're here for your daughters.
And Jughead.
Yep, pick last again, Ma.
During gameplay, you can either pick a clever strategy or just jump right in and knock down soldiers like bowling pins. The main goal is to try and kill the enemy's leader so his army loses their morale and runs away like a little girl.
I resemble that remark.
It's like a bunch of depressed soldiers fighting to get more Zoloft. Go on, get out of here. Scoot. The fighting animation is pretty good, but the landscapes seem a bit bland and empty, not to mention overrun with copious amounts of fog. Also, when the action really starts to heat up, the frame rate goes way down. Yes, I love it when my soldiers look like they're coming down from speed. Wait, did they just fire lightning from their hands? Ancient Chinese secret, I guess. Well, this is not a bad game. We've gone down this road many times before. Don't force me to call PETA for beating a dead horse. But since there is a lack of big action titles on the PSP at the moment, it's no surprise that it'll make some money. And expect mini clones of the same game to come in the future. So, that being said, it seems I am destined to review the same game until I die. Yet again, we give Dynasty Warriors a 3 out of 5.
You know, it took them until Dynasty Warriors 5 to fix the slowdown on the console version, so I guess we have to wait another half-decade for the slowdown on the PSP to get better.
And by then, we might both be dead, or hosting shows running on clean-burning gasoline alternatives, like vegetable oil, or bitterness.
You already run on bitterness. Your Full Metal Alchemist review is a byproduct.
Ah, good point.
Up next. Hey guys, let's make the title totally random, pretentious, and confusing. For example, Atelier Iris Eternal Mana. Now with +6 apathy, it's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Welcome back to X-Play.
RPG fans are a special breed. They're hardcore gamers who think nothing of sinking 40 hours into a video game.
And that's why the RPGs made for them still sell, even if they have confusing titles or dated graphics. It's all about the journey.
Yes, which is something we'd like you to keep in mind as we review Atelier Iris Eternal Mana.
Because it looks like something Strawberry Shortcake threw up.
Finally, the game I've been waiting for! Battle of the Hummel Figurines. Ever since I first saw that sappy emotion... Hold on, getting word from Master Control. Apparently, this game is actually Atelier Iris Eternal Mana for the PS2. I guess we're gonna have to wait on that Hummel fighter. $5 on the Summer Fishing Boy when that comes out. Anyway, Atelier Iris is an RPG where you get to play Plane, an alchemist with an attitude.
I can do it outside, but it would work a lot better in here.
The storyline here is fairly weak, in that it feels like we've been here before. You know the drill. A megalomaniacal maniac is gonna destroy the world, and it's up to you, the journeyman alchemist, to save it. Which is obviously such a ripoff from Trainspotting. You've got the standard RPG mechanics, exploring towns, shops, and dungeons with a party of adventurers. But the hook to Atelier Iris is the mana system. Let me see if I can explain this clearly.
First, Clank can break open objects in the world to extract their mana essence. Then you can create different items with the essences or combine them with other objects you find throughout the land. To do this, you need the help of an elemental named, for some confusing reason, mana. Then those items can in turn be used to break open or make other special weapons or substances. And while other party members use standard weapons, Clank primarily uses mana, the essence, not the being, for his arsenal. Got it?
It's not possible.
Yeah, neither did we. Until we played it. Then it was fairly simple and intuitive. Seriously, the mana synthesis provides a bit of strategy to an otherwise typical battle system, which ends up becoming the standout aspect of the game. Outside of the battles, Atelier Iris feels like a stock 16-bit RPG. There's a bit of mild humor and no shortage of awkward moments in the forest between two half-naked girls.
Some rain, huh?
Yeah, I'm soaked.
Yeah. Actually, the game is full of suspicious undertones. Check out this little exchange.
What's up, man? Anything for me today?
I'm making a fishing lure. I need some stained grass.
Sure. A fishing lure. Wink, wink, gotcha. And as we all know, stained grass is the gateway to some hardcore mana abuse.
I need to get home so I can do some mana fusion.
The limited animation makes Scooby-Doo look like Fantasia. Sure, the sprites look almost painted, but they move like an epileptic in an electrical storm. The audio elements fare much better. The voiceover is energetic and the music is quirky and fresh, like this little number. Although that's clearly a Coldplay ripoff. So, while it may closely resemble the look and feel of a Final Fantasy circa 1991, Atelier Iris will probably please role-playing fans, but it lacks the density to draw in a broader audience. After breaking it open, we extracted 3 mana pots out of 5.
Thank you. You're dismissed.
Oh, pretentiously titled Totally Average RPG, we encourage our viewers not to buy you. We tell them instead to rent you at Gamefly.com.
Gamefly has hundreds of games to rent or buy, and then you can save your money to buy life-saving insulin instead.
Or refills for your inhaler, because we geeks are a sickly people.
For example, I suffer from exhaustion, ADD, carpal tunnel syndrome, RBG radiculopathy, high blood pressure, bipolar disorder, furry phobia, violent stabbing pains in my eyes, my leg is...
Coming up, so close to reality, it's kinda disturbing. It's Full Spectrum Warrior 10 Hammers. They support our troops. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
And we thank the troops for sending us some very complimentary viewer mail.
Welcome back to X-Play. We actually have a lot of people in the armed forces who watch this show. Hello. And we wanted to thank them, thank you, by showing the trailer for the new Full Spectrum Warrior 10 Hammers game.
And then we watched the trailer and it was, well, we think there's a game in there somewhere.
Sergeant Barrett, hold up. In a split second, your world can go from calm to utter chaos.
Incoming!
Welcome to the battlefield of the 21st century. 10 hammers. Take command.
So as a treat to the armed forces, we showed them what a day in their life is like.
Yeah, so much for escapism.
Yeah, maybe we'll try Cameo next time.
I like the guy's, the announcer's voice.
Yes, very...
Full Spectrum Warrior, 10 hammers.
But they don't have announcers in Iraq.
We should, though. And there were maybe like 20 seconds of gameplay in that entire trailer. I learned very little.
Well, okay, what we do know is that 10 Hammers is supposed to have an improved interface and new non-desert levels like Swampland.
Swampland?
Yeah, don't go away.
I wonder if there's a lava level.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, the lava monster like in those Marines has.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, don't go away, because we'll be reviewing one of the strangest games to come out in 2005 next.
And you've never seen anything like it.
Well, maybe that one time when you licked that psychedelic toad. Well.
Up next, dude, we're like totally freaked out by Killer 7.
You gotta help me.
Turn the creepy up to 11. It's Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb, and a Killer 7 review.
Welcome back to X-Play.
As the disembodied voice said, we have Killer 7 review. This is the hyper-violent game that has been intriguing us for the last couple of E3s.
It's got a very unique art style and an even more original plot. So you play a hitman with 7 distinct personalities, and each of them are playable in the game.
Will it be revolutionary or just revolting?
Find out in our review of Killer 7.
Some say there's a little part of everyone that belongs in hell. Within the lightning and shadow-lit rooms of Harmon Smith's mind is a group of 7 that are already there.
And the devil have mercy.
Killer 7 presents a deeply involving universe where surreality tears away the fabric of reality, replacing it with the murky depth of psychotic possibility. Heaven Smile is a terrorist group intent on setting the world aflame with the sadistic brightness of its knife-sliced grin. Solely for the sweet scream of terror itself. The main storyline places the United States and Japan precariously on a ledge between protection and total annihilation by the hands of the vile Heaven Smile gang. Inside of this global struggle lies the game space. It exists within the twilight of an existential deathscape, a place where only the 7 killers, their victims, and the ruthless Heaven Smile can ply their art unimpeded. Harmon Smith and his 7 killer personalities, who are also surnamed Smith, have unique weapons and abilities with which to deal death and dissolve certain obstacles. Your previous victims act as ghostly guides, bleeding and hissing esoterica concerning upcoming difficulty. The game's animation style is thoroughly immersive. Regrettably, the story seems to have leapt ahead of the title's gaming system, sadly leaving our digits dangling and disappointed.
Rested.
The game operates on an extremely tight rail system. It becomes evident quickly which way the title is shoving you. Load screens further detracted from flow and fatigued a riveting game experience. Witnessing cutscenes populated by truly original characters and plot lines is only gratifying if gaming interactivity is recognized as well. Otherwise, you might as well just kick back, pop some corn, and watch it. The murder of Smiths included do upgrade nicely and each have interesting representative powers. Take the only female Smith, for example. Kaeda Smith is able to summon deadly spirits by slicing her wrists and showering trouble spots with her body's platelet-flavored fuel. Other killers include Kevin Smith, an albino of mysterious origin whose weapons of choice are throwing knives. Each created an interesting glimpse into why they exist as messengers of Muerto. We hope this game becomes a gateway title for similar disciplines concerning character, story, and artistic detail. We also hope the interactive gaming elements don't get the shallow grave they did with Killer 7.
Forgive me.
A maniacal laugh at the gates of heaven. We give it a 3 out of 5. You know, I think people are pretty polarized over Killer 7. They seem to either love it or they seem to hate it.
And of course, we fell in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Yes, which is why it got a 3 out of 5, and which is why we hope to make a sequel that fixes some of the gameplay problems.
But if they're gonna do that, take less than, 10 years or however long it took them? Anyway,
Yeah.
people who love story and presentation, in other words, the Metal Gear fans, Faye will probably love this.
People who put an emphasis on satisfying gameplay, they're gonna hate it. This is one of those games that's sort of a lot better in concept than it is in execution.
Like 13. Well, 13. We did an entire episode about 13 and the development of that game. So it had this amazing cell shaded look. It made you think you were playing inside of a comic book. Then we actually reviewed the game.
Life is full of disappointments, as demonstrated by this coincidentally on-topic viewer mail.
Today's viewer mail is from Dork Assassin. He writes, every year you guys get to go to E3 and see early builds of big games that look awesome, and then don't deliver when they come out. Over the last couple of years, what have been the most disappointing games to you personally? Well, Dork Assassin, my life is full of personal disappointments.
But as we said earlier, 13 was a huge letdown, but that's not the only one. I was let down by Conquer.
Yeah, I know we gave it a 4, but I think you and I personally have a little bit of an issue with it.
Well, it's the camera which really just
yeah,
kind of...
that single player, you don't keep a 10-year-old camera inside the game, or a 6-year-old, whatever. GoldenEye Rogue Agent, that should have been fun. I saw that at E3, and I thought this should be really cool. No,
you want to play the bad guy, play the evil guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't really work
then one
out.
of the most famous ones of all time is Daikatana.
Yeah.
But we kind of knew that was going to suck well ahead of the time that it was actually released.
Yeah, and the Matrix games.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know if I had.
No, I kind of knew it was going to be bad, but I was hoping.
Yeah, we're intuitive that way.
Today on X-Play. Move your feet.
My feet hurt.
Get back on my jetpack!
Challenge your mind.
Not alone was he in the geographical Southland.
And look at boobs. Get violent with lesbian undertones. It's game time.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Adam Sessler. Morgan Webb.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Prepare to be reviewed. This is X-Play.
They done lost their marbles. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Hello and welcome to X-Play. Now you may be noticing something a bit different.
I've changed conditioners. I know, you guys have been making jokes about my hair for some time, but with this new bounce and sheen, look out world.
It's very nice. Also, it's our 400th show.
We don't keep track. We just have a segment producer who's autistic and counts things a lot.
Also, we have a new set with a giant sphere on it. Do not be alarmed. The sphere will not try to eat us.
Rotating our new logo to find magnetic north. It won't bother us while we review games.
Games like Dance Factory, which we won't actually be reviewing, just previewing.
Which is like a review, but it has a P at the beginning of it. It's also less judgmental.
We'll actually be reviewing Mega Man Powered Up, which brings the magic of the original NES game to the PSP.
And we've got Brain Age, a game about math and saying the names of colors really loud.
It's way more entertaining than it sounds, but you know, it doesn't really sound entertaining at all, does it?
No, it sounds like they took second grade and made it a game.
Yeah, well, just wait for the review.
All right, later on, we've got a review of Rumble Rose's Double X, a glorious tribute to the fact that women have boobs.
Evolution is full of wonders.
Yeah. But first up, a great man once said, to the beat of the rhythm of the night, dance until the morning light. Forget about the worries on your mind. You can leave it all behind.
That man was El DeBarge, who was a huge celebrity in the early 1980s when we just couldn't get enough of effeminate R&B singers.
While Mr. DeBarge's fame has passed, his message lives on. Dancing can free the soul.
That's why we decided to preview the spirit, unbinding power of Dance Factory.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me?
Sometimes you just want to dance, dance, dance. And if you prefer dancing at home with a game, then keep your peepers locked on this early look at Dance Factory. Our interns can't stop dancing until it's out. I'm serious, they can't stop.
I love dancing.
Keep going, just a few more weeks until Dance Factory comes out.
My feet hurt.
Get back on that dance pad! Yes, girl. Thank you.
I like the way you move.
Even at this early stage of the game, Dance Factory is a solid DDR replacement. After some serious contract negotiations, the up, down, right, and left arrows are all back for another appearance. Although I heard the left arrow had to go through rehab first. You may notice a decided lacking in the song list. There are 5 songs. 5! That's because Dance Factory has a new feature that's been on the wish list of DDR fans for years.
you can load your own music into the game. And Dance Factory doesn't just give you the option, it demands it.
Guys, I brought you some new music.
Can I go to the bathroom?
No talking!
Dance Factory will be able to analyze every new track of music into a routine. Techno and hip-hop seem to produce the best results, but you can really throw anything in there.
On the X-Play board.
You better like my game!
On the X-Play board.
Even spoken word.
There's so many things I like about you.
An opera. Each CD you rip into your factory of dance unleashes a beast that is supposed to live inside the disc. I wonder what kind of creature would live on a Lindsay Lohan CD.
So hungry.
Woo! Party! You can also create your own routine from scratch by dancing along to a song. You can accessorize your creature buddies and use the iToy.
We've been dancing for so long. Charlie horse! Charlie horse!
Leave him! He's dead already.
Is the world ready for another booty-bouncing, creature-carousing, flavor-bomb-dropping game? If it does as much crap as Dance Factory does, yes, I think we are. Woo! Party! We'll keep our interns grooving to this until Dance Factory comes out later this spring.
I can't dance anymore.
No, can't stop. Don't stop. If he can't dance, then really, he's no use to me at all. No, look, he's dancing. He's dancing. Fine.
If it's billing itself as a dance factory, then it should have a product at the end.
Yeah, I've been trying to train the interns to sew gloves while they're dancing, but they lack the coordination.
Well, that is your problem. Our interns are never going to be able to compete with the nimble fingers of Indonesian sweatshop laborers.
What's the answer then? Sex tourism?
God, no. Have you seen our interns?
Point taken.
Anyway, the real money is in tech-related call centers, is what's funding India's economic boom.
Yeah, I'll start training interns to take inbound tech support calls just as soon as we get the next dance game in.
And how long will that be?
About 2 weeks.
So, 14 days.
Or 19 Mega Man game releases.
That soon.
Yeah, well, to get one step closer, why don't we review a Mega Man game?
All right! Let's go with Mega Man. Powered up.
Some people believe the best way to sell something old is to make it young again. There's old movies, old movie stars, and finally, Mega Man. With his big eyes and nearly non-existent body, Capcom must have been going for the cutest of human forms, a fetus. Before you start taking your RU-486, look past the overly cheerful graphics to find a solid platforming experience that set the building block for the series. Mega Man Powered Up takes the series back to its early gestation period when timing and jumping mattered more than squeezing every last ounce of blood out of the Mega Man franchise. Play the newer version or play the graphically enhanced original. Both versions reawaken the spirit of why we play Mega Man to begin with. The jumping, the puzzling, the split-second timing, the slowdowns. Maybe not the slowdowns. By taking out bosses with your arm cannon alone, Dr. Light picks up the pieces of your fallen brethren to gently persuade them to your side with electricity and reprogramming.
Down the middle, Hazzard!
Think Abu Ghraib with fewer dogs. These rebooted rebels then go after Wily themselves with their own special powers and abilities. Some players think you shouldn't kill any of the bosses,
I don't have any reason to fight you, Elect Man.
and others think you have choices since, after all, it is your game.
I can't believe it! Dr. Wily was right. You've changed into a bad robot.
We here at X-Play have a pro-death policy. Don't just kill the robot cretin, crucify them and leave them for dead on the road to Damascus. It's the only way from deterring bosses like Tomahawk Man and Dynamo Man from appearing in the future. One of the best features about this game is the level editor. By picking up bits and pieces throughout the levels, players design their own levels and put them out on the web. Here's one we made called Life. Well, that's life for you. You could also recreate famous scenes from plays like Our Town.
Emily, psst, do you have answers to problems?
Oh God! Oh, the transition of life is so hard to me now!
Add on the challenge levels, 8 playable bosses, 2 game styles, and you'll find a game that not only gives homage to the original title, but improves on the formula. We only wish the system could keep up, but that's life for you. That's why we're giving Mega Man Powered Up for the PSP 4 Proto Men out of 5.
Fetuses are adorable. If they didn't eventually turn into children, I'd get one.
I feel the same way about sex.
Children are just like Mega Man. They start out cute and fun, and then they just keep staying around, seeming less and less adorable.
Acquiring magnet beam power-ups.
Yeah, there are a few things more annoying than a toddler with the capacity to create temporary energy-based platforms.
That's why we target our show for more mature viewers.
I wonder why we could never get anyone to sponsor games for menopausal bastards.
I don't know. Sounds so good.
After the break, see how much damage the drugs have done. And later, oh yeah. Oh so delicate, oh so beautiful. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Welcome back to X-Play. Despite what it may look like, we are not trapped in an alternate dimension.
We're just in the regular dimension, where goatees mean you still wish it was 1997.
And if you're old enough to be nostalgic for the golden age of Hanson and presidential fellatio scandals, then you're probably getting on in years.
As you approach the dark threshold that marks the beginning of your 30s, it's time to start taking measures to protect against the onset of dementia.
Luckily, there's now an answer, and on a handheld device, no less. Here's our review of Brain Age for the Nintendo DS.
Meet Dr. Ryuta Kawashima. He's a famous professor of neuroscience, and with the help of Brain Age for the Nintendo DS, he's here to train your brain. The good doctor's research has shown that performing simple exercises like math problems or reading aloud creates a much higher level of activity in underutilized parts of your mind. According to Kawashima, the ideal brain age is 20, and the game gives you a score in the form of years. If you complete the exercises accurately and quickly, your brain age will be in its 20s. But if you mess up, your cranium officially becomes a senior citizen. Okay, I know this doesn't look that enjoyable, but we actually had a great time seeing how quickly we could pull off simple math problems. Once you start trying to beat your best time, it becomes pretty addictive. Unfortunately, other training exercises aren't as fun.
White Fang lived fat and prosperous and happy. Not alone was he in the geographical Southland.
With a title this addictive, it's a sure bet we'll wind up seeing a ton of imitators.
Ah, Dr. Kawashima. Stephen Hawking? What are you doing here? Your collection of mindless puzzles is no match for my new game, Quantum Physics Age. Here, watch a clip from the X-Play review.
In Quantum Physics Age for the Nintendo DS, you'll learn advanced principles of quantum physics.
A metal's work function is 3.5 electron volts. What is its cutoff frequency in petahertz to 4 decimal places?
I don't even know what a petahertz is. Quantum Physics Age gets a 1 out of 5.
A 1? Those idiots shouldn't even be allowed to review my game. They make regular quantum physicists look like astro-quantum physicists. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, guys. We need to get back to the Brain Age review. Our only major complaint is that the technology hasn't quite caught up to the game. The handwriting recognition is mostly okay, but a lot of times the microphone speech recognition didn't work for us at all.
Blue. Blue. Blue.
But what we love about Brain Age is that it's accessible to anyone who wants to exercise their cranium. If only the voice and handwriting recognition features worked a little bit better, this teaching tool might be looking at a perfect score. But Brain Age just missed it with a 4 out of 5. You know, it turns out my brain is in its early 70s.
Cool, do you remember the Depression?
Yeah, people sold apples. Also, I started getting Social Security checks. Apparently, my brain isn't just 73, it's also a blind widow.
Oh, you're such a lucky lady.
I know. It also makes for a huge tax refund.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
After the break, tracksuit attack. And later on, nice. The Dairy Maids of Christ. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Milk that salvation.
Welcome back to X-Play in our luxurious new home.
It's made of backlighting and dreams, like Ridley Scott.
We all have dreams. You know, as a girl, I dreamed of being an Olympic gymnast, and Realized I lacked coordination and an eating disorder.
I dreamed of one day writing a novel about my dream of one day writing a novel.
But these are the unique dreams of interesting people. For most of you, lame, run-of-the-mill dreams will suffice, like being rich.
Or owning the largest Mazda dealership in the United Arab Emirates.
Or being a ninja. And for those of you with ninjutsu dreams, here's our review of Naruto Ninja Council. We hereby call the Ninja Council to order. Our first order of business is just how lame Naruto Ninja Council is on the GBA. Well, open your eyes, viewers. Tell us. While you're doing that, I'll take a quick nap. Oh, sorry. Naruto Ninja Council is side-scrolling tedium through the world of the Naruto Ninja Council. For those of you with lives, Naruto Ninja Council is an anime show on the Cartoon Network, and as we know, every anime show on the Cartoon Network ends up a video game. I hear they're making a Tom Goes to the Mayor game. I wonder what the objective will be. So when you pick up this game, this is what you get. Repetitive side-scrolling semi-action in which you jump, crawl, and fight, using all the magical attacks the 10 fans of the show are familiar with. Believe it! Do you feel the magic? There's more of a challenge finding X-Play's new time slot than there is in this game. It's easy, repetitive, with no reason to replay it, like a night out with Mandy Moore. Sure, the game stays close to the anime show, what with the storyline and characters and all that, but come on, give us more in 2006. It's so bad, we're gonna play another episode of How Bad Is It? This game is so bad, Sharon Stone made a sequel to it. This game is so bad, it resigned as FEMA director. This game is so bad, Robert Blake took it out for an Italian dinner. Sure, there's magical jitsu or yoga or chakras or something new agey that is supposed to make the game more fun, but really, it doesn't. What can we say about Naruto Ninja Council that it can't say about itself? That pretty much sums it up for us. We give Naruto Ninja Council 1 out of 5. Shame on you, Ninja Council. Your fans deserve better.
You know, I ran for Ninja Council in the 10th grade, and I lost to an exchange student from Paraguay named Esmeralda.
Oh yes, Paraguay, the retirement destination of choice for all of your big-name former Nazis.
I always did suspect that she had fascist ties.
Yeah, they are good at maintaining a firm grasp on power.
No, I mean, I always suspected her neckties were fascist. They had swastikas and caricatures of Jews on them.
Why was a 15-year-old girl wearing neckties to high school?
I always thought it was part of her culture. What?
In a moment. Oh, hell yes. Disappointed with the Duke lacrosse team. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
That's an understatement.
Welcome back. Can you smell what the X-Play is cooking?
Professional wrestling is that magical territory where athleticism and showmanship meet.
Yes, and after they meet, they take a bath in steroids and basic cable licensing agreements.
But one wrestling game franchise approached the sport from a whole new perspective.
The perspective that focuses on the fact that ladies have lady parts.
Here it is, gentlemen, Rebel Rose's Double X.
The midsection supremacy as the body's favorite place to amuse itself has been celebrated throughout time. Our very reality was quite possibly born of an event known as the Big Freakin' Bang. The FCC strangely hates seeing this extremely popular pastime. Strange because it actually creates the children they're trying to protect from, well, knowing how in fact they are made. Ooh, it's a direct hit to the baby bakery. Censorship won't work. Kids always know where to go when they're thirsty. Good thing Instinct doesn't have a phone. The FCC would call and yell at it.
Hello, Mom. I'm on telly.
Hey, dude, the Roses are back and ready to carpet bomb your Joe Boxers into a smoking pile of quivering rubble. Rumble Roses Double X for the 360 dips a large brush into a bucket of enhanced texture and smears it all over these curvaceous cutthroats. Holy hevelums, Batman, look at them move. It's as if God himself has exhaled contentedly upon them.
The characters have benefited from a 360 facelift and just can't wait to show off their new pixeled surgeries.
Look how adorable. Anesthesia's showing you her soul. Don't worry, kids. If you look really close, you'll find this is not where babies come from.
But what about the wrestling? The curves can only get you for what, 2-3 minutes? Then hit the tissue box? Collision detection is horrible. There's too many better games out there to look the other way in terms of Rose's fighting mechanics and submission system. They're just plain lame. They actually seem worse off than the previous Rumble Roses. Over time, if you stick with the character in career mode, their skills, popularity, and even physique will improve. Location damage like arms and legs can be done to create weak points to exploit on your adversary. That's what we suppose these lively little clouds are. As mentioned before, they've included different match types with conditions that include after-fight humiliation, which you just sit back and watch. Gentlemen, wax your engine. If you're that desperate. I mean, what's that tickling? It looks like she's landscaping her. I've heard of mow, blow, and go, but this is... And what's this? Your defeated opponent on all fours pretending to be a cat? Or is she supposed to be addicted to crack? Honey, no, sweetie, that's not the drug. That's a real crack. All of the special moves and flesh pretzel embroidery you've come to expect from the Roses will, of course, be on display. Moves like the lethal bitch slap of doom and the gyno, everything's fine, along with Anesthesia's lovable defib move, are always a laugh riot. But they always seem to go back to the Fertile Crescent for some reason. Odd. Hey, watch it, you'll bruise the kid. Online mode plays quite well, but you're going to have to somehow get over the omission of the mud wrestling mode. They have included a crappy ode to Street Fighter, though. At the end of the day, Rumble Roses Dos Ex clearly wants you to look and not touch, as the gameplay is frustrating. But where are 360 titles that have more looks than brains? A 3 out of 5. Hey, can you check and see if I'm pregnant?
Really? Really? Is that how you see women?
No, but God, I wish it were.
Speaking of disturbing things, it's time for viewer mail. Today's viewer mail comes from Phil. He writes, "Dear XPlay, I try to find reviews on your website, but it's really hard. You should make it more searchable." Oh, my dearest Phil, you make a solid point. In response, we have entirely revamped the G4TV.com website just for you.
So come visit the beautiful shores of G4TV.com/XPlay. Go there now. Goodbye. Go.
Such a beautiful site.
Oh, I love changes. No, I don't.
Today on XPlay.
Welcome back to XPlay!
Dear Christ. Has it been that many already? Realize your career has stagnated. It's game time.
Unlimited power! Prepare to be reviewed.
Adam Sessler. Morgan Webb.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Prepare to be reviewed. This is XPlay.
Hello and welcome to the 500th episode of XPlay.
Just to put that in perspective, it is more than 300.
So to celebrate the fact that our network has yet to find something better to put on in our time slot, we are going to take today as an opportunity to highlight some classic XPlay moments and remember what Adam and I looked like back when we had hope and believed in America.
We will also review games.
Yes, we know you are sick of recycled reviews. We respect that. We appreciate it. Thus, brand new review.
Reviews of Fight Night Round 3. The densest piece of product integration on the 360 now comes to the Sony family. And Elite Beat Agents, a DS rhythm game that is precisely as goofy, Japanese, and share-centric as you might imagine. And we review Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2, Rise of the Witch King, the game with the longest title in the history of non-Shin Megami Tensei video games.
To remind us how very far we've come in the 500 episodes since we started in San Francisco, let us go to the crisp graphics and shiny consoles of the new generation. Here's Fight Night Round 3 for the PS3.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Oh, wait. PS3 controller can't do that anymore. Okay, let's get ready to play pretty much the same Fight Night that came out earlier this year on the Xbox 360. Fight Night Round 3 for the PS3 is not that noticeably different from the fantastic punch-up that it was on the 360. But that's not necessarily a bad thing now, is it? Fight Night's awesome graphics and innovative boxing controls made for what can only be considered one of the first true next-generation experiences. So what does EA have up its sleeve for the PS3 version? Even better graphics? Well, let's take a look. 360, PS3. 360, PS3. 360. PS3. I don't know. I don't see much of a difference. Maybe the fighters in the PS3 version are a little sweatier, but that's just gross. Seriously, dude, get a towel. And the round card girls are a little more, realistic? Well, maybe if you're a 14-year-old boy. Otomo Itagaki. But aside from the slight graphical brushing up, Fight Night on the PS3 does offer one awesome new feature called Get in the Ring.
Gentlemen, I want a good, clean fight.
Basically, it's a first-person camera angle. But in reality, it's much more than that. It's a truly authentic representation of standing in the ring toe-to-toe with a 200-pound killing machine, but without actually getting punched and the resulting brain swelling. That would hurt. Playing through the eyes of your fighter lets you see your opponent more completely, if not necessarily more clearly. Now it's easier to see just where his punches are coming from. Actually getting your dukes up and blocking in the right place is up to you and your reflexes, though. Hey, how come I can't see? Oh, right, I have my gloves in front of my face so I won't get hit.
Step back!
The first-person mode is a nice touch and gives you good reason to relearn the game, as well as the opportunity to look a certain co-host right in the eye as you deliver a smashing
Blades are trembling.
I told you not to eat my green M&Ms, Sessler. I told you.
There's a nice hit.
But what really holds back Fight Night are its interminable load times. Fights take forever to start, and choosing options for your created boxer like new hair or a shiny new pair of trunks takes forever. Come on, I could have given myself a mohawk in the time that took. Man, sometimes I just want to punch someone. That's better. Fight Night Round 3 for the PS3 gets a 4 out of 5. We've seen a lot of boxing games come and go since this little video game review show got off the ground back in 2003.
Just to give you an idea of how long ago 2003 was, back then, people listened to their music on third-generation iPods, which weighed in excess of 5 ounces.
When X-Play debuted, America was still winning the war in Iraq, and Ruben Studdard was the reigning American Idol.
It certainly was another time. Why, back then, we didn't even realize we were missing out entirely on the world of touchscreen-based handheld games. But then the DS came along and rescued us. Here's our review of Elite Beat Agents.
Right about now, you're probably wondering why you're hearing Avril Lavigne. Well, unfortunately, it's an occupational hazard that comes with reviewing Elite Beat Agents for the Nintendo DS. But first, a little background. Way back in 2005, Nintendo released Osu Tatake Ouendan in Japan. In this game, you play as a squadron of male cheerleaders who helped out the less fortunate. In order to pass each stage, you rhythmically burst balloons with the system's stylus. Elite Beat Agents is sort of a little brother to Ouendan. It's not exactly a sequel, and it's not a remake, and it definitely doesn't have any cheerleaders. In the American incarnation, the protagonists are goofy government agents, sort of like the Men in Black.
Agents are go!
Okay, they're pretty much exactly like the Men in Black.
Agents are go!
The function of your agency is to show up whenever someone needs help and start dancing.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yes, that's just what I want my tax dollars going towards. You're always willing to lend a foot, whether it's assisting an overworked babysitter, helping a disgraced baseball star destroy a stone golem, or rescuing celebutants from a deserted island. The bad news is that the cynically commercial soundtrack hampers an otherwise enjoyable rhythm game. Some 41 good Charlotte Hoobastank and other bad memories from 5 years ago haunt every mission. Dear developers, Next time you assemble a soundtrack, please look beyond the 99-cent used bin at Tower Records. Fortunately, the gameplay almost makes up for the crappy track list. It's a lot of fun to burst balloons to the beat of the music, and a load of unlockables encourages you every dance step of the way. In the end, this is a good game that features a terrible soundtrack. If you're able to put up with the obnoxious music, well, you'll enjoy this game, and American Idol, and the new Lady Sovereign CD, and everything else we hate. Elite Beat Agents gets a 4 out of 5.
All that share in that game got me to wondering, do you think the DS is trying to tell us something?
It wishes it could turn back time?
No. All these adorable, campy, kitschy games, charming little characters, games about interior decoration and Victorian girl detectives.
You think the DS may be dreaming of becoming a professional dancer?
And being able to get married in Massachusetts.
Well, luckily, the GameCube already came out, so with luck, the board of Nintendo will already be emotionally prepared for it.
And Nintendo DS, know this, we will always love you, just be careful.
Before you let someone slip a stylus in you, get tested.
Ew.
Kill her.
In a moment, the battle for Middle-earth continues. And later, more reminiscences on X-Play.
Netflix.
Stuck in a co-hostery of convenience, it's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Welcome back to X-Play. We are celebrating the 500th episode by remembering just how long ago that first episode of X-Play was. See, back then we were still waiting with bated breath for the final installment of the Lord of the Rings pictures. And we're still drunk on the top flight acting of Natalie Portman in Attack of the Clones. Back then, Peter Jackson was still fat, Britney Spears was still skinny, and Oprah was, Hey, Adam, was Oprah fat or skinny when we started?
Skinny!
He always knows. To further show how far we've come, here's our review of Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2, The Rise of the Witch King.
Picture the dwindling forces of evil being pushed back at their own gate. Grunting, swearing, blood. Fancy fade to the Witch King. He's Tony Soprano crossed with Harry Potter and dripping with the eyeshadow of Johnny Depp. He takes out the dwarf, takes out the other beard guy, takes out Spider-Man. Only weakness can be hurt by women. A strange past, work that into a prequel somehow. Anyway, Susie daggers for hands, comes up and stabs him one. He dies. Not true. Girl's a hermaphrodite. Big in Europe right now. Witch King returns home defeated, but even more determined. Learns Tibetan martial arts, bottles his own wines, adopts a Cambodian child. And that's how the Witch King returns. Oh, and at no point did he ever throw a BlackBerry at his assistant.
Publicists are the new mouth of Sauron, and this is the new expansion for Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2, Return of the Witch King. Despite the title, our quest hurls our crusade of evil 1,000 years before Smeagol sheathed his finger with tainted gold. A primitive Witch King wages war against the splintered lands of Arnor. Story elements from the 9 missions come from the Lord of the Rings canon, which is just another word for ye old fan fiction. Not to be confused, however, with the modern fan/fiction, where we often find Legolas traversing Gimli's crack of doom.
Charity. It's the press release that writes itself. Witch King is all about the kids of today. He's always saying that children are our greatest natural resource. Of meat. Our greatest natural resource of meat.
Return of the Witch King presents the same level of pristine butchery between delicate layers of story that keeps the humors moving. Missions require multiple goals to conquer the lands of man. Your path to the Frozen Throne may be a short one, but you'll claw your way through every dirty hamlet just to get there. A new master beckons for new minions. Your rebellious mob can hand out the pain from a distance, or show them the business end of an angry orc. Thrall Masters call upon any group from Wolf Riders to...
I bring filthy spearmen!
Great, now we're fighting the side of light with tetanus. doubt Lockjaw will slow down this army, but it could deter some Slash fanfiction.
I mean, it was bound to happen. You put your face out there long enough, and sooner or later, one of those paparazzi scumbags is gonna get a picture of your Eye of Sauron.
Beyond the realm of the Witch King and about 1,000 years, little else has changed. The War of the Ring mode received a few tweaks, as well as orcs as heroes. Otherwise, you're just slogging through the same dirt as before. But stomps aside, Witch King brings little to an already epic game. That's why we're giving it a 3 out of 5.
Witch King, he's back! You know, like I was saying to Witch King the other day, hatred is Hollywood's new DUI. Everybody's got a hatred. I hate the Irish.
Morgan and I have now been co-hosting together for 3 years. And that's for one reason, and one reason only.
I have faster reflexes than Kate Botello.
And better poison resistance than Lauren Fielder.
Don't worry, Adam. One day you'll kill me.
Oh, you're just saying that.
No, I believe in you.
Oh,
Yeah, I
You gonna play Coliseum with me? On the field of honor, the gods bearing witness to my glory, I will pull your entrails through your eyes and use them as reins to ride your damned soul to Hades below!
Dude.
Up next, God, we've been doing this a long time. On X-Play.
Like Def Leppard's drummer losing an arm.
They are in Los Angeles, but not of Los Angeles. It's Adam Sessler.
Welcome back to this, the spectacular 500th episode of X-Play. Sure, the 400th episode was just a few weeks ago, but we crank out a lot of television here at the old X-Play compound. But a lot has changed. For instance, when we started, we were located in San Francisco, or as we like to call it, New Sodom. Thanks to the active plate tectonics of the Pacific Rim, we've moved a couple of 100 miles south over the past 3.5 years. But we still got our San Francisco memories. Here, take a look. Welcome back to X-Play! Too much! Other level. This is like a real TV show with a full production crew. You're not the floor director, you're that ninja. During that review, my co-host hit me in the head with a tire iron, blaming her actions on Barbie Horse Adventure for the Game Boy Advance. Is that a dreidel?
Yes, I made it out of clay. They didn't tell you they hired me for the new show?
No, why'd they do that?
There was a meeting.
Morgan, do you really play video games?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was too busy leveling up on Golden Sun on my Game Boy.
Hey there, you big bitch. What? Hey there, you f***ing dog. Hey, how are my two favorite c*****s doing?
Ken.
Plug.
Who wrote that into the show?
Anyway, it's time to get serious, you guys. Like Sophie's Choice serious.
Like Def Leppard's drummer losing an arm serious.
So do games make people more violent? Or am I just hurting Adam? Because I can. What's the matter, Adam?
I can't get past this boss, this fireman.
Isn't that the first boss?
Shut up!
Good cocoa, isn't it?
I wouldn't know. I switched to gin 5 minutes ago.
What no one ever tells you about San Francisco? It's really, really good rice-a-roni. Like, I don't know if it's fresher or what, but the stuff is good.
Also, in a city with that many tech geeks, we only seem moderately dorky. Ooh, and sourdough bread.
Other than that, we miss nothing because parking there sucks hardcore. And I prefer a city not have atmospheric neighborhoods.
Here in LA, we have strip malls to take care of all of our needs.
Oh, TCBY, you really are the country's best yogurt.
Moments away. More classic moments with X-Play.
Get away from her, you bitch!
You know, on the X-Play board.
You better like my game!
On the X-Play board, it's my closest thing to fame on the X-Play boards. I don't wanna hear it. On the X-Play boards, don't even take me near it. I'm my favorite character you couldn't understand.
Solid Snake's a roadmap on my way to be a man. RPGs and hockey games, volleyball and cricket.
If Webb and Sess don't get it, then they can
suck it.
Hi.
It's our 500th episode of this TV show.
X-Play, it's called.
You know, you'd think after 500 episodes of a show this witty, engaging, and pretty damn smart, we'd have been plucked from obscurity and be placed in respectable jobs.
Like doing sideline weather during NFL weekend games.
Or hosting cheaters.
But no, we're still here, cranking out television for you, our only real friends.
So to remind us that nostalgia really means the pain of remembering, let's look at the classic X-Play moments we've shared with you so far.
Mamma mia!
Give me that.
Hey, what the hell are you doing? Give me back my Game Boy.
For the past 15 minutes, I've had Jason's big click coming out my left ear and Super Italian Stereotype Brothers coming out my right.
Give me back my Game Boy.
Are you gonna put it away?
I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to with it.
Then I'm afraid I'm gonna have to take it. Why don't you go get the car?
Daddy, want me to frag her for you?
You frag me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
So if I decide to go with your wireless plan, what are some of the benefits?
Power. Unlimited power. Minutes. Unlimited minutes. Hello? Oh.
Now, these were a promotional item for the Nintendo DS, and they are so handy. You could emulate clapping with them. You know, if you're excited about something and you want to show your applause. Oh my goodness, our model seems to be having a little bit more fun with that than we intended. Apparently, they also lift and separate. That's all the products we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching the Home Schwag Network. Can we get her some help?
Hey, haven't I seen you on television?
We seek knowledge, enlightenment, salvation.
Yeah, a few million buried Atari cartridges.
Sounds like you might want a word with Mr. Spender. He used to work for Atari.
Where can we find this Mr. Spender?
Mr. Spender lives right out there in one of those little white houses.
Which one?
And today's Tuesday. Should be on the third one from the left.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you. I'll see you again real soon. Real soon.
Get away from her, you bitch!
That's not even a line from Star Wars.
Nerd! Look out! Coming right at you, sucker! All over the place. Oh, where'd I go? Oh, here I am! Oh, I'm behind you!
That's what we have to offer the world. We've made it, kind of. We're on TV, and we play games for a living, and that, a bunch of sketches about groin injuries and Hunter S. Thompson is what we have to leave to history.
It's sort of depressing. But then you realize that most people these days are basing their claim to fame on a YouTube video or being one of our interns. So it's not that bad.
Yeah, true. Well, since we're less depressed now, let's complete one of those X-Play replays.
Fight Night Round 3 got a 4 out of 5 because first-person boxing lets you see both hands, which is better.
Elite Beat Agents got a 4 out of 5 for playful rhythm action, but less than perfect song choice.
And The Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2, Rise of the Witch King got a 3 out of 5 because it only gave us one more race and the campaigns were all really short.
Okay, you've just shared in the collected wisdom of 500 episodes of X-Play. Revel in it. It's glory.
Today on X-Play, we show you even more fun to be found in the world of Portal. Long, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, we stack some blocks. We sling some webs with Spider-Man, and hack up the French with Bladestorm the 100 Years' War. Indulge your need for speed. It's game time.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Adam Sessler. Morgan Webb.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Prepare to be reviewed. This
Hello and welcome to X-Play's 600th episode. Now we're still your source for brutally honest game reviews.
On today's show, we'll show you some pro tricks to make your trip through the world of Portal a bit quicker. And we've got a preview of Need for Speed Pro Street, which hopes to push past the arcade-style paths of the franchise and branch out into more realistic racing action. And later in the show, we've got a review of a Dynasty Warrior-style hack and slash that features Joan of Arc.
But we begin with one of our favorite film franchises that was turned into an adorable and fun pair of games, and now is being re-released with two mighty good games in one package. Here's a review of LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a movie about robots, magic, and a kid with a mean dad became a cultural phenomenon. Not so long ago, in a galaxy fairly close to our own, someone had the idea to recreate that movie using Legos and turn it into a game which also became a cultural phenomenon. Even less long ago, in an office 2 blocks from there, some industry fat cats decided to repackage that game and sell it to you all over again. LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga combines the first 2 LEGO Star Wars titles into one glorious, all-inclusive package for the 360. Everything a Star Wars fan could want is here, from the Rancor chomping on Gamorrean guards, the Jedi mind tricks, to the iconic John Williams score, which we can't actually play here due to copyright laws, so I hope this will suffice. As has always been the case, the charm of this title is its ability to combine actual engaging action with enough of a grasp of the Star Wars universe to turn it into a festival of inside jokes. But while it remains as entertaining as it's always been, don't expect a lot of new content. Much like the revamped original trilogy, I'm pretty sure all they added was an extra dewback on Tatooine. Game mechanics basically remain the same: shoot, build, destroy. Collect Lego rivets, bring down an AT-AT or 2, kill Greedo, maybe grab a glass of soda, and call it a day. One change made from the previous 2 versions is that now they're in HD, which makes all the Lego artwork seem Lego-ier, if that's even a word. This time around, LEGO Star Wars takes cooperation to the next level with online play. So go make an online friend and save the universe together. Just don't fight over collecting rivets. That's just ugly. Yeah, this is really nothing more than a repack, and truthfully, they could have used this valuable time to get LEGO Indiana Jones out to us quicker, but Complete Saga will make you remember what you loved about the original trilogy in the first place. And what you hated about the prequels. LEGO Star Wars gets a 4 out of 5.
He's going like, no! Anyway, we love the Star Wars universe. All those Twilight girls, all those Jawas, hilarity is bound to ensue. They've thrown down with some fine games as well. The LEGO Star Wars games, the original Star Wars arcade game, and Knights of the Old Republic. We've got another one scheduled to head our way next spring, but here's a little preview of Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
You have done well, my apprentice.
Star Wars. It is a fascinating universe of adventure, whimsy, and consumer opportunities.
Hey y'all, welcome. I'm Tom Peterson, and this here's my co-host, Bill Tanner, coming to you from an Alliance space station orbiting Yavin 4. You know, ever since the Jedi were wiped out, we've been overstocked with lightsabers. And everything must go. If you order now, you'll get these 5 models. You're gonna get the Golden Yoda. You're gonna get the Mos Eisley Survival Saber. You're gonna get the Youngling Killer. You're gonna get the Mahogany Bantha Mini-Axe Dual Blade 3-pronged Double Input Maternity Saber. What else they gonna get? Now, what I'm about to do right now is unbelievable, folks. Right now, I'll guarantee every single caller this authentic, 100% pure carbonium Mace Windu replica lightsaber.
Woo-wee! And remember, this Mace Windu replica saber comes with this lovely purple blade.
Doesn't mean you're gay.
Not at all. Right here, folks, we're gonna have something. Oh, Tom, they got me good. Oh, that burns like hellfire. Oh God, where's my hand, Tom?
Folks, if you order now, do we have a clip we could go to?
Oh my God.
I think he's gonna die.
To my knowledge, Grand Moff Tarkin never forwarded that memo on to Lord Vader, and although he felt a disturbance in the Force, it was too late for him to do anything but to choke the out of someone with the power of his mind.
What the hell have I done? I worked with you for 22 years and I never told you how I felt about you.
Tom, I knew. I always knew. These prices couldn't last.
And speaking of no, there's no end to these savings. Call now. Call now.
See, kids, don't grow mustaches. You can check out the reviews for all the Star Wars games we've ever reviewed by heading over to g4tv.com/xplay and searching through our review archives, because time doesn't waste itself. Coming up, your friendly neighborhood that guy in Spider-Man Friend or Foe, and later, a guide to good times in Portal on XPlay.
Welcome back to XPlay. The recent series of Spider-Man flicks have revitalized interest in one of Marvel's biggest and most intriguing names. And our next game takes a wry look at the Spider-Man of the movies, but still hopes to pack in quality action. Here's Spider-Man, Friend or Foe.
There I was, sitting here thinking, what a peaceful, dull evening. Then, boom!
And that's where the excitement stops. Spider-Man Friend or Foe is Activision's latest attempt to milk the Marvel web slinger for everything he's got.
Spider-Man!
Friend or Foe has the premise of a completely nonsensical Saturday morning cartoon. The game seems to take place in the universe of the 3 movies.
Look like you could use a hand.
Sorta. Apparently, the Green Goblin, Venom, Harry Osborn, and Doc Ock are still alive, and of course, none of this lack in continuity is explained.
If this day gets any weirder...
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man gets abducted by aliens, and then he meets up with Blade.
Name's Blade.
Wait, Blade?
Yeah.
Jesus, what, was Ghost Rider busy? So, I guess what I'm saying is the game is only slightly better written than the Fantastic Four movie. But really, we are talking about a superhero who received his powers from a radioactive spider. Do you want to know what happens to people when they get by something radioactive?
I most certainly would.
They get cancer and die.
Oh no.
Now, I know what you're saying, but Adam, what about the gameplay? The mechanics are so simplistic that it often feels like the game was designed to help autistic children overcome their fear of video games, because there's a one-button attack scheme. One button. Oh, but don't worry, you have a throw button as well. The attacks are, however, context sensitive, so the variety of moves is actually larger than it first appears. Just the same, the gameplay is definitely geared for younger gamers, or at least gamers with severe head trauma.
If I didn't know any better, I'd swear I'd been punched.
For the most part, the levels are just a straight gauntlet run. You walk into a large room or area, robots appear, you beat them up, and then do it again.
You need to point that somewhere else.
It's a game made for children, and at that it exceeds beyond expectations. Adults who purchase this game will just be left questioning their life choices and all the horrible decisions they've made. Spider-Man, friend or foe, wall crawls at 2.
Unacceptable.
Out of 5. When you can't play a game, when you can't afford a game, when state courts have forbidden you from purchasing a particular game, we're always there to bring it to you in a powerful, concentrated form. Here's Games in 60 Seconds, The Warriors.
X-Play presents Games in 60 Seconds.
Can you dig it?
The Warriors did it! The Warriors did it! The Warriors did it! The Warriors did it!
Be looking good, Warriors. All the way back to Coney.
We're home free! This train's had it. This is gonna be impossible. There's nothing wrong with you making it through our territory as long as you're coming in peace. You see what you get when you mess with the orphans?
They blew it. Maybe we better take off.
I'll shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle.
They blew it. Let's go get breakfast or something.
Warriors! Come out to play!
Those were some desperate dudes. So was we. Yeah, well, we made it.
Come out and play, indeed. A remake of The Warriors directed by Tony Scott, the guy who directed Top Gun, is due out in 2008.
Up next, we gotta look at Need for Speed Pro Street. And later, there's more to Portal than you could have imagined on X-Play.
Welcome back to X-Play. Back in the early 90s, EA bought Distinctive Studios, the home of racing games like Test Drive 2 and Stunts. Distinctive was rechristened EA Canada and was soon cranking out the Need for Speed games. Now it's been 12 years and 13 titles since then, and they've got another one coming our way. Here's a preview of Need for Speed Pro Street.
If Tom Cruise hadn't uttered those famous words in Top Gun, EA may never have come up with a suitable title for one of its most popular racing franchises. But he did. So instead of Super Hatchback Racing, now we have this, Need for Speed Pro Street.
Hey, who knows? One of these drivers could be the next street king, you know what I'm saying?
The concept is simple. Street racing, while far too dangerous for the street, would be perfect as an organized daytime spectator sport. Watch your back, baseball.
You know what I'm saying?
In Pro Street, you'll assume the role of Ryan Cooper, an experienced street racer trying to make the leap to the legitimate sanctioned circuit. But it's not gonna be easy. Once in competition, you'll have several different race modes to contend with, including drift and drag. Not to mention all that hardcore street racing attitude.
Nice to get back to such small races.
Pretty tough talk, but can he back it up when it counts? Guess that's a yes? The game itself not only boasts more advanced AI, but a new physics engine, providing a more realistic experience all around. This is especially apparent in the crash dynamics. In other words, it's totally possible to completely fudge up your car.
That car is looking like spare parts, if he's lucky.
Look for Need for Speed Pro Street to menacingly spin its tires in your direction this November.
Now let's take a step back in time for an action RTS game set during the height of the Middle Ages. Here's Bladestorm, the 100 Years' War.
European history. It's that thing you would have learned if you went to private school. It's full of fascinating stuff. Primogeniture, elective monarchies, and popes getting their brothers to adopt their boyfriend. Bladestorm, the 100 Years' War, takes place at the height of Europe's medieval period, after the plumbing-free innocence of the Dark Ages, but before all the gunpowder and frescoes of the Renaissance. When men were men, and women were religious zealots leading troops because St. Anne told her to. But despite all the hacking and seas of enemies, Bladestorm isn't just Dynasty warriors in Europe. Sure, you're a central war hero leading oceans of troops into battle,
Follow me!
but Bladestorm blends in significant aspects of real-time strategy, letting you manage various types of troops and forcing you to manage troop morale to get the most out of them. Every type of unit has 3 key attacks and 1 basic attack. Send the swordsman in with the R1 and they'll hack away at the horse in French. Pressing X, Y, or B and they'll perform something a little more sophisticated. It's a nice addition of strategy to what can be the toughness action of RTSs. But nice additions do not a quality game make, and Bladestorm can get a little, well, boring. The battles start to feel repetitive, and the sides aren't very different, which kills replayability.
Now, you must be on your way.
But the worst aspect in the game is the low-quality AI. Just like in the Dynasty Warrior games, the challenge is overwhelming numbers of opponents. And when they're not particularly smart, the game can feel really mindless. The game is pretty enough, sure, but the voice acting, well, you be the judge.
Take this. You shall be glad of it.
We love the mix of RTS and third-person combat, and nobody wants quality 100 Years War-based games than we do. But Bladestorm is just repetitive and simple enough to be entirely dull.
Another adventurous soul takes up arms and resolves to enter the merciless chaos of battle.
Via Bladestorm, the 100 Years War, 2 Joan-up Ducelles out of 5.
I would advise you to take what is offered.
Joan of Arc just goes to prove teenage medieval French girls will do anything St. Margaret tells them to. And I mean anything.
In a moment, ways of playing Portal you may not have thought of before on X-Play. Welcome back to X-Play. One of the biggest surprises of this season has been the unadulterated joy of a game that's about little more than some rooms, a box, and the tempting promise of cake. We thought we'd give you some pro tips to get the most out of the game. Here's Fun with Portal.
Remember all the good times we had back at Aperture? We got to play hide and seek with ourselves. We free fell for 30,000 feet. And best of all, we met our weighted companion cube.
There is a different kind of love.
But now, even after finding out that the cake was a lie, we find ourselves wandering the halls of Aperture's test center with a new set of challenges. As if this game hadn't already made us the most spatially brilliant gamers in history, the advanced challenges will split your mind like a ripe melon. Come on, come on. Ooh, fastest test subject in history. Booyah, mother... What? Bronze? Son of a bitch, you gotta be kidding me! These new modes will force you to learn some new tricks that you'll wish you knew the first time through. Even those cameras can be of some use. Portal may be short, but try a couple of the advanced modes and you may as well grab your Aperture Science time card. You're back on the clock. Who knows? Maybe the cake is real this time.
18.25 ounce packaged chocolate cake mix. 1 pan prepared coconut pecan frosting. Don't forget garnishes such as fish-shaped crackers, fish-shaped candies, fish-shaped solid waste.
I call X-Play Replay.
Star Wars Lego The Complete Saga got a 4 out of 5. It's fun.
Spider-Man, friend or foe, got a 2 out of 5. It is not fun.
Bladestorm, the 100 Years War, also got a 2 out of 5. Also not fun.
X-Play Video Viewer Mail.
If Psychonauts was more commercially successful, do you believe it would have a sequel? And even if it had a sequel, do you think it would be very good?
Now, Psychonauts was phenomenal. We loved it and would love to see a sequel.
We're sure the sequel would have been great, but the company wasted all their money promoting Advent Rising, and Psychonauts flopped, and we're never going to see that sequel.
And we're more likely to see Lucas release episode 7 in our lifetime.
Stick around. Another X-Play starts now.
Yep.
Last week, President Bush announced that his economic stimulus package was going into effect early and that taxpayers all around the country would be receiving checks in the neighborhood of $600. And for that, gamers around the country, thank you. Because a generation of gamers left behind can now afford an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, along with a copy of Grand Theft Auto 4. Because hell, let's face it, it's not like that kind of money is going to help you get a handle on your debt or deal with those skyrocketing gas prices. Your car's probably already been repoed. But what it can do is help you get your hands on that murder simulator that politicians love to hate. And you know what? You'll probably have enough money left over to buy some weed or booze or even a low-rent lady. And if you already have a PS3, a high-rent lady. So the next time you see someone high as a kite running over pedestrians, remind them to take a break and thank the president. Take this hideous sweater off. Coming up on X-Play, the latest Gears of War 2 footage and some adults-only action as X-Play investigates sex in video games.
Plus, I go on location for your first look at the new World of Warcraft expansion, Wrath of the Lich King. X-Play starts right now. Greetings and welcome to X-Play, the only time of day I'm not playing GTA 4. I'm Morgan Webb.
And I'm Adam Sessler, and we're coming to you from the G4 Studios in Los Angeles on Monday, May 12th.
Later in the show, you'll see some pixelated pixels in our Sex in Video Game special, and we'll review the new Galactic Civilizations 2 expansion. But first, let's get the top headlines in today's gaming update.
New Gears of War 2 campaign gameplay videos were released over the weekend by the game's design director Cliff Bleszinski and Epic Games. The game footage shows Marcus Phoenix battling the Locust with heavy weaponry and engaging in chainsaw duels while riding on top of a new transport vehicle called a derrick. In the video, Bleszinski also explains that Phoenix's goal is to deploy a new grind lift that will burrow into the earth and give the COG a chance to fight the Locust Horde on their turf. Be sure to tune in to X-Play tomorrow night at 8 for new Gears 2 news straight from the source with my exclusive in-depth behind the chainsaw interview with Cliff Bleszinski. Electronic Arts has secured a new loan for up to $1 billion in debt financing that can be used to support the publisher's bid for Take-Two Interactive. With the launch of Grand Theft Auto 4 now out of the way, Take-Two and EA can resume merger negotiations. Whether or not the deal goes through, Electronic Arts will eventually have to pay off the loan with interest. Nintendo's WiiWare service is finally launched here in the US, giving Wii owners a chance to pick up a handful of titles. The games are around 40 megabytes in size and prices will range between 500 and 1,500 Wii points. The WiiWare service is free to browse, so all of you Wii owners should check it out. And finally, new Banjo-Kazooie 3 screenshots leaked onto the web over the weekend. Rare, the game's developer, is expected to make a big splash at Microsoft's Gamers Day event tomorrow in San Francisco. So far, details regarding the game have been highly guarded, but a representative from Rare has stated that the game's gameplay mechanics are going to blow people away. Be sure to stay tuned to X-Play. We'll have all the announcements from tomorrow's event. That's it for today's gaming update. For more of the latest news, be sure to check out G4 On Demand or head over to our website, g4tv.com/xplay. But now, let's go over to Morgan, who's gearing up for level 80.
Thank you. When the new expansion pack for World of Warcraft comes out, make sure you don't come between me and my computer. I'll be like a mother bear and her cub, destroying anyone in my path and occasionally snacking on salmon and crackers. I recently went to Blizzard to see Wrath of the Lich King and blew me away. Here's our preview. I'm at the world headquarters of Blizzard Entertainment to find out all about the new World of Warcraft expansion, Wrath of the Lich King. I'm here with Jeffrey Kaplan. Now, you are the lead game designer for World of Warcraft. What are you most excited for in the new expansion, Wrath of the Lich King?
Well, I think one of the most exciting features is going to be our new Death Knight class. It's the first time we've introduced a new class to the game since we originally launched.
And the idea behind this is there's some kind of heroic thing that you have to do as a player in order to unlock it. And in this case, it's reach level 55. So if you have a level 55 player, then you'll be able to create our first hero class called the Death Knight, and it'll actually start at level 55.
Okay, so the theory is if I have a character right now in my arsenal, for level 55 or over, I can go out and I can buy Lich King, and that very second I get home, I can start playing with the Death Knight.
Absolutely.
How are the quests set up a little differently? I noticed the quest seemed a little bit more interactive when I was playing upstairs.
Sure. Our quest team is virtually unchanged from Burning Crusade, and some of the people have worked on the original game as well, so they've been working on quests and know how to make quests better than they ever have before. We've got a quest where you actually have multiple people who ride a single horse in order to escape from some werewolves. We also have a quest where you actually fly a plane and actually have to shoot down other planes.
Let's talk a little bit about the dungeon system.
We're going to do some really new and different things that we haven't done before. Previously, we either had a 10-person dungeon or a 25-person dungeon. It didn't really include both, but now we'll include both 10 and 25 for all of the raid dungeons and give them their own separate progression.
And what kind of characters are we going to be fighting?
One is the Tuskar race. The Tuskars look like walruses. They also have kind of a little bit of a look like Wolf of Brimley, giant mustaches. Another race that we're talking about is going to be a really big opponent for players is the Vrykul. And these guys are nomadic Viking warrior types who are very, very based in Nordic mythos. And they're actually trying to go out and prove themselves to the Lich King.
So the Lich King is really the focus of the entire expansion.
The Lich King has been sitting on his frozen throne for many years now, gathering power, let me tell you. And so as you level up, you'll actually get to interact with Lich King, see him, be part of his nefarious plots, and actually work against him.
One of the things we're doing is planning out all of our patches in advance. So we already have an idea of what we're doing for our patch content. For example, the final crowning moment against Arthas will take place in Icecrown Citadel, which will be the final patch of the cycle.
Is it going to be a big experience difference if you're playing Alliance or Horde?
Having a different experience with Alliance and Horde is actually pretty important. So you'll have a lot of similar kind of threads to the story, but in terms of how you get there, it will be different how you arrive at the end.
Cool.
Yeah.
I hate the Horde.
This interview is over.
The R-Type series has destroyed your patience for years, taunting you with waves of enemies and a lack of lives. In R-Type Command for the PSP, the pressure has been lifted. This game is a strategy RPG, and you don't need twitch reflexes to survive. Here's our review. In space, no one can hear you scream. But if you've got a PSP, you can play R-Type Command, so it all balances out in the end. Say you've commanded an R-Type game in the past. You probably enjoyed the side-scrolling action. Well, that R-Type, like American Idol's relevancy, is long gone. This R-Type Command is a turn-based strategy game, and the main campaign has 30 missions. That's 10 times 3. Command a whole slew of fighters and take the battle against the dastardly Bido Empire. Obviously, your fighters will have different types or R-types of attacks to fool around with. The cutscenes try to give a more fleshed out view of the action, but they just get in the way. I'm here to battle. I don't need any fancy cutscenes. They cramp my style. The goal here is to protect your mothership from outside forces. Seems simple enough. It's not. It's a challenge. It's nowhere near as easy as America's victory in Iraq. But in the end, the reward will be worth it. R-Type Command is a solid turn-based game for the PSP. Will it change the world and the way we look at the world? No. That's crazy. It's a PSP game. A very good, very challenging PSP game. And even though it's turn-based, it's still got that classic R-Type attitude fans have come to expect. That's why we're giving R-Type Command a 4 out of 5.
Coming up on X-Play, Kristen Holt has a new GTA 4 cheat that will make you the king of Liberty City in no time. Then, we go under the covers for a steamy look at sex in games in the raciest X-Play investigation yet. Plus, we review Galactic Civilizations 2, Twilight of the Arnor, the explosive new expansion from the people who brought you the smash hit Sins of a Solar Empire. You don't want to miss it.
welcome back to X-Play. In every Grand Theft Auto game, a little rain must fall. No, I'm not talking about weather effects. I'm talking insanely difficult tasks, like the infuriating RC missions in San Andreas and Vice City. Thankfully, Kristen Holt is here to ease your pain.
Thanks, Adam. GTA 4 is no slouch when it comes to controller checking difficulty, but if you follow these tips for 2 of the more difficult missions, you might just save yourself the cost of a new controller and some spackle.
What about them swings?
Our first walkthrough is the mission where you have to steal a truckload of heroin from the triads. After the cutscene where Phil fills you in on all the details,
take it from them.
Make your way over to the alley where the truck is located. You have arrived. You'll start off in a place where you can take the triads by surprise. Since they're all standing around cars, a well-placed grenade will wreak some serious havoc. Take the rest out one by one and advance forward. As soon as you get a certain distance from the truck, it's gonna take off and you have to chase it on foot. Don't worry that all the triads aren't quite dead. Just go. Once you reach the truck, you'll latch on and the game will give you directions on how to pull an Indiana Jones and climb up while it's still moving. Smash the A button repeatedly to pull yourself up, then use the left stick to advance and keep yourself from falling off. It's not as hard as it looks. Once you make it up to the front, you'll automatically dispose of the driver. Then drop the truck off nearby and you're done.
Your uncle asked me to give you this wedding present. Yeah.
In the next mission, Derek wants you to kill Aiden O'Malley.
Just this last one. Please.
Problem is, O'Malley's in police custody. Derek's brother Packy tells you to set up an ambush using a truck in a tunnel. There will be 2 arrows indicating how to park the truck. Take your time and kill all the cops. Get in the armored car with O'Malley in it and wait for Packy to climb in the back. Now comes the tricky part. You need to lose your wanted level. Head out of the tunnel and get to the nearest bridge. Cops will be flying at you until you get across the bridge. Oh hey look, Sarky's on! Ignore Mr. Sark's request to play Halo and keep going. Once you have more space to drive, you'll be able to ditch the cops. Then you'll be instructed to switch vehicles and take O'Malley to a quiet place where he can be easily disposed of. Be sure to check g4tv.com/cheat for the latest Grand Theft Auto 4 tips and tricks. Right now, I'm going to send it back over to Morgan.
Now, Twilight of the Arnor is the last expansion to be released for Galactic Civilizations 2. But to make sure that the game goes out with a bang, StarDeck has included such options as the ability to destroy entire solar systems and maps that cause games to go on for months. Here's our review.
There are plenty of things you could do to pass some time, but who wants to enjoy the outdoors or complete court-mandated community service when there's a new expansion for Galactic Civilizations 2? Galactic Civilizations 2 Twilight of the Arnor is the new addition to this epic turn-based strategy series, and there are more new toys and features than you can shake a Death Star at. And your universe just got a whole lot bigger. The new maps are about 50% larger than before. But if you want to go nuts and expand on this expansion, the game offers 6 different editors for you to build your own scenarios. You can create everything from custom maps to your own technology trees. It's still the same 12 factions as before, but now with a lot more personality. The individual tech trees for each race really give each civilization a unique style. And ahoy! You also get a whole slew of new ships. And there's even a new way to win. If you build a space station on an Ascension crystal, you earn 1 point per crystal per turn. A mere 1,000 points later, you've won the game. Sure, it's a pretty long game, but it is possible. And can't the homeless ladle their own soup? It's bigger, it's better, and thanks to improved graphics, it's even prettier. And while we'd like to see multiplayer, this is still a must-have expansion for fans of the game. Galactic Civilizations 2 Twilight of the Arnor destroys 5 planets out of 5.
When X-Play returns, we get between the sheets and make some innuendos for our special investigation on sex in video games. If you think your parents just heard that, say we're reviewing the next Left Behind game.
Before we go, let's discuss something else your parents may not approve of. Code Monkeys, G4's hit animated comedy of 8-bit proportions, returns. The all-new second season starts June 1st. Go to g4tv.com/codemonkeys for the full story, and to tide you over till then, check out this sneak peek.
These are very nice breasts, no?
The collecting is a hobby of mine.
Those are definitely sweet, but I want breast implants, like under my skin.
What?
Jerry, I'm tired of renting. I am ready to own. Give me the best boob job $200 can buy.
Are those oranges? Yes. Let's do this thing. The bandages must stay on for at least a week. And in that time, you must not squeeze your bosom oranges.
Oh man, not even a little one?
Absolutely not. They will be very tender.
Caress?
No.
Fondle. Ow! What the
That was fresh squeezed orange juice. Very delicious, yes? But please refrain from manhandling yourself. Here is your pain medication.
I can get refills, right?
If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life, yeah. G4X Play.
Welcome back to X-Play. Sex and entertainment are a dicey mix. It doesn't matter if you're talking about music, movies, or books. It can often lead to controversy. In this X-Play investigation, we take a look at how coitus is handled in our favorite medium. Despite supposedly being aimed at kids, video games have a long tradition of featuring sex. Discounted text-based choose-your-own-adventure style games, the first to ever include graphic visuals, was the repellent 1982 title Custer's Revenge. In this pornographic entry for the Atari 2600, you play as a cavalry commander who has forcible sex with Native Americans. Not particularly funny, and definitely an inauspicious start for sex in games. Fortunately, in 1987, the Leisure Suit Larry series was born, and it presented a solid adventure game where you played as a Lothario on the prowl for pixelated pleasure. But despite some naughty words, that game wasn't really all that graphic. Finally, in 1996, players everywhere got to see the digital nudity they so desperately desired, when some sad, empty shell of a human being coded a hack for Tomb Raider. Affectionately known as the Nude Raider code, it let you see all of Lara Croft's bits and pieces. Of course, nothing in that game was really in clear focus, so you still had to use your imagination. 2000's release of The Sims allowed players to do the nasty all over their digital dollhouses. In fact, the series even let same-sex couples start a household together, proving that video games can be tolerant despite what the population of Xbox Live would have you think. The M-rated 2002 game BMX XXX rewarded players with gratuitous strip club videos. And when we say rewarded, we mean punished. Half these girls will look more appropriate in a Waffle House. 3 years later, the popular action game God of War featured bare-naked breasts and an even more controversial sex minigame. None of the action actually appears on camera, but it was still fairly racy for a mainstream title.
Stay, Kratos. Just a bit longer.
But the main event occurred 2 years later when someone discovered buried code within Grand Theft Auto San Andreas that gave you access to an interactive sex scene. Hundreds of thousands of copies were pulled from the shelves, and it was slapped with an adults-only rating. The company altered the product to excise the offending material, but it still cost Rockstar millions of dollars in lost revenue.
I'm an excellent judge of character.
But leave it to the massively multiplayer cesspool Second Life to really raise the bar for digital deviance. It's bad enough that the game is a repository for human beings so socially crippled they can't even function in other MMOs, but somehow one of them managed to program the ability to have sex with unicorns. You heard that right. Sex with unicorns. Congratulations, Second Life. You just managed to make Japan seem wholesome. Speaking of, the rise of hentai video games was happening concurrently to our own sexual awakening. In Japan, there's an entire category of intercourse simulators like this example, Sexy Beach 3. Often players can dress women up in whatever outfit they want and then proceed to take off that outfit and have awkward, unpleasant adult relations. But not everything is exploitative. Last year's Mass Effect featured a tasteful love scene that felt entirely organic to the game's storyline. Unfortunately, conservative nitwit bloggers somehow got wind of it and claimed that the game allowed you to, quote, engage in the most realistic sex acts ever conceived. We aren't sure what game they were playing, but despite being completely factually incorrect, the story was picked up by those paragons of journalistic integrity at Fox News. Fortunately for fans of common sense, developer BioWare never apologized or catered to those fanning the flames.
Just call us humanity's best and brightest.
And there's an even more recent example of sex in gaming. Newly released Grand Theft Auto 4 allows you to visit simulated strip clubs. You can sit back and watch the ladies slow dance the night away for you in thongs and pasties. If you aren't the germophobic type, you can even go into the back room and get a lap dance from one of these, lovely ladies.
Sadly, there's no minigame that lets you finish yourself off in the men's restroom while having a good cry because you miss your ex-girlfriend. So far, the strip club scenes haven't caused a huge issue yet, although Mothers Against Drunk Driving have denounced your ability to drink and drive in the game. No doubt, there will be more controversies for GTA 4 on the horizon, but we can't imagine another cup of hot coffee being served up anytime soon.
Tomorrow on X-Play, Adam sits down with Cliff Blazinski to talk Gears of War 2. It's a brand new chainsaw gun-filled exclusive in-depth interview you don't want to miss. Then, could Battle of the Bands dethrone Guitar Hero 3 on the Wii? Find out in our review. Plus, we do a little free running and go all access with the producer of Mirror's Edge, the explosive new parkour-inspired first-person shooter. All this and more at 8, only on G4.
It's a big week for gaming, this week.
Exactly. We're gonna hear some stuff from Microsoft, and well, it could be really big. I don't know yet. I haven't heard it yet, but I do get to talk to Cliff, and I gotta say that game looks so awesome. I can't wait to learn more.
It does. It's great that they're not really resting on their laurels in that one. They're really improving, and they're doing a lot to kind of make the game a little bit better, and so that'll be good. And I'm very excited for that.
It's a very big laurel they now have.
And you're gonna go check out a lot of stuff, and you're gonna come back and tell us all about it. So you're gonna have to watch. Do not miss the Gears 2 interview.
All right. We'll see you next time.